Okay, hello. Alright, just double checking something. We're ready. It's time. You know what it's time for? It's the maybe end to of the devil. I say maybe because I don't know how long this will take, but I think we're getting close to the end. And I'm really excited. It's a very good visual novel. I'm looking down at the ground. Cause okay, to recap, last time, one second, this okay, there we go. So last time we were investigating. We talked to, cause like, you know, we found the footage that showed Sarah handing the poison cups to our guy David Asher. Though she's kind of arrested for suspect of being an AI who killed a creator. So we talked to her. We had some philosophical moments. And then we investigated a bit more and we found David Asher confessing to like making 300 AIs. Sarah's not one of them, but there's 300 other ones out there, which is great for him, I guess. Great for him. And now we are still investigating, I believe. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much as far as we got last time. So we'll see if we get any farther. 1 second. Got a message and it interrupted my thought process. Okay, there we go. Okay, thought process rescinded. We're gonna investigate now. Where we have a few questions to ask him. Ask this pathetic guy we were interrogating earlier. So now we're going to go back to interrogating him. Alright, Nobles and AI. Humor me for a moment. What's the company's official statement on AI? Same as any rational company that wants to make money. We don't screw with it. Smart products are profitable. Products with their own priorities are anything but. That being said, AI is a concern for marketing, not product development. We spend a lot of money reassuring our public that there's no risk. Because the public doesn't really understand how ironclad the tenants are. Because you use Tesseract? Trying to code an AI in tests is like trying to pick yourself up and throw yourself. Nonsensical and self-defeating. Your scanner showed Sarah's running on Tesseract yesterday. If the language is as safe as you say, isn't that proof enough? Proof of nothing. For an AI, lying to another system at the code you're running is child's play. And for an AI built by David Asher, something that simple would be. Better change the subject. Wait, so making AI takes more time and resources? It isn't an issue of funding? No, you can't just keep adding more data. The tenets underlie everything. The higher you stack, the more easily you'll topple. You make it sound like building an AI is impossible, even for David Asher. Any chance you'll testify to that? It sounds impossible. But he's dead. And it looks like it was an android that did it. So I guess he was just that good. Better than you'll ever know. Animate 16. Noble spent months promoting the A16 as a culmination of David Asher's work. So now that the marketing line is suddenly a huge liability, can you tell me how much he actually contributed? I mean, he was involved in pretty much every step of the process, but his design for synthetic motor neurons, that was the big one. The components allow your warm androids to move realistically? It pushed the timetable for warm androids ahead by years. And yet compared to what goes on in Sarah's brain 1,000 times a second, David was only giving the company the most meager of the fruits as private work bore. So if Noble ever did find out how much he and his assistants had achieved, they would feel that he had been holding out on them. And the company, they were appreciative of his contributions. I'm sure the researchers that he overtook by leaps and bounds weren't pleased. But the board was very enthusiastic. I'm sure they were. So, would that spur them to be protective of David? Or would they fear that he was gaining too much influence, becoming irreplaceable? No. They need a strong motive to justify killing their golden goose. Mere paranoia isn't enough. With these people, it has to be the bottom line. And that the easiest way to threaten their bottom line would be screwing with their androids. In light of all that's happened, one has to wonder if the A16 is compromised. I stayed up all night sick with dread at the idea. But the data just doesn't support it. Sales have been strong until they turn against their human overlords and start overthrowing humanity. An A16 base code was locked in over 2 quarters ago. If there were an issue, we would have caught it by now. Unless... And I would have been axed a long time ago. How many A16s are out there, anyway? Just past 9 million sold. Oof. Not flying off the shelves like the 14 or 15 so far, but the profit margin makes up for it. You mentioned data? Yeah, practically got the spreadsheet stared into my retinas. What do you want to know? We got so many questions. Wait a minute. Let me check the log. Data. What do I want to know? What error reports? What do the error reports look like? Are customers reporting a lot of issues? Error counts are markedly low compared to the last gen. Mostly hardware complaints, it looks like. Batteries running out too quick, eye tracking off by a degree or 2. Typical stuff? As cliched as it sounds, 99% of these things get fixed once they turn auto updates back on. So no killer robots getting filed away under bug reports. Aw, man. How and where are they being sold? What's the distribution pattern look like? They're distributed like you'd expect. Places where there are more people, there are more androids. Coastal cities like ours, of course, have the most of both. Since the A16 in particular is marketed as being relatively luxury, relatively consumer, they don't sell well outside population centers. They can do the rural hard labor jobs, but cold models can do the same work with a lot less maintenance. So where has the A16 outperformed then? Customer service, healthcare, childcare, lots of hospitals, offices, and, you know, adult industries. Aw, hell yeah. Oh. Sorry. Didn't mean to be blunt. In 2025, women will be having more sex with robots than men. Remember that, guys. No, it makes sense. They're warm and soft to the touch and obedient. I'm just surprised to hear from a company employee. There's a lot of people at the company who won't talk about it. But I work in quality assurance. I've seen too many damages to pretend it's not happening. Damages? What we call it when a customer tries to return a product that's clearly broken beyond repair. Oh. Very high turnover in the pink market. Hasn't stopped you from selling to them. Well, we don't sell to them. Not directly. But there are resellers, and the companies never pretended to be interested in going after them. Are there resellers? I thought I read that right to repair got shot down. There's been a gray market for softer androids for years. Or decades, depending on your definition of android. Based on the sale numbers I've seen, RTR getting canned was barely a blip on their radar. Sorry. Didn't make you uncomfortable with this topic. Huh? Me? No, I don't care. I just realized my left sock's on inside out. Damn. Now I'm wondering about that myself. He bought that? He's not very smart, is he? This floor is basically a showroom, but you have a real factory a while south of the city limits, correct? Yeah. Biggest company manufacturing complex in the hemisphere. Got any data on the shipping out there? Anything stand out? There's some prep work for the holiday bump, looks like. Might sound early to get started now, but we usually see... Something wrong? No, the numbers are all normal, but the data has been edited. Is that unusual? All the sections just account of how many were sent where. There's not a lot of room for errors, so there shouldn't be this much need for corrections. It's no problem though. I can view the edit history and see what was fixed. Okay, that's weird. Was something added? Deleted? No, the overall sum's the same. It's just a bunch of swaps. Like here, 29 FFCE, something taken out, returned for adjustments. Something else substituted in, shipment leaves on time. Another one returned to assembly for revisions, replaced by another one, shipment leaves on time. So does it all strike you as odd, Mr. Dawes? Replacements before shipping isn't uncommon, but when it happens by the batch load. Spot individual unit imperfections among shipment at that stage in the process. It must have been someone with a lot of experience, or authority. Probably both. Must have? You don't know who made these changes? I can tell you there was somebody important. Small last-minute changes to which androids got shipped out. Not very juicy on its own, and it's a long ways away from explaining why someone would want to kill David. But it was hidden. And that means someone didn't want it found. Okay, thanks for sharing that data. Sure. Did you find what you were looking for? Hell if I know. Fair enough. Tenants. I'm forming ideas, I think. There are some theories turning in my little goop brain. I think it's like someone important changed logs. And I think I said last time that like I theorized that David, like, you know, like David's friend, the one, what's her name, June? Might be the killer. But I still can't figure out what her motive would be, even if it does make sense, because like if you were gonna like kill somebody, you'd want to like give yourself the rock solid alibi, and she does have like a very rock solid alibi. And maybe she helped him make Sarah and then planted some kind of like hijacking thing in her to have her like kill David when the time came so that she wouldn't have anything to do with it. Totally not. But also I don't know why she would do that. I had the theory of her being like a super deep cover corporate spy that was meant to like help take down Noble, that like when they get like too big for their britches. Maybe? I'll have to see though. I know you're convinced the tenants are safe. So how do you square that with what happened to David? There's a cat next to a dog. First answer that comes to mind. Is the dog to the left or to the right? Right? I'd say the dog is on the right. The cat is on the left. You might expect half people to say left, half say right. But actually, their answer is almost entirely dependent on their native tongue. Whether it's read right to left or left to right, the language they speak affects how they process information. Their language affects how they think. And it's the same for machines. People can learn new languages, and it could change our perspective. But machines can't learn a new source code. Every update's a reincarnation. That android did kill David. It wasn't because 0 returned as a 1 somewhere. It's because there's something fundamentally wrong with it. And personally, I think it's cruel to bring something that flawed into the world. Yeah. Unnecessarily cruel. Any other questions before I go find a hole to hide my head in? I'd like you to take a look at this. Chemistry's a little outside my purview. What is this? A compound found in David Asher's blood? The poison? What is it? It didn't match anything in any database the medical examiner had access to. 1 second. I'm being text on my phone. Is it anything important? I'm here to tell you guys there's nothing important. Here's a crazy idea to follow it up. See if it's a match for anything in Noble's internal databanks. The poison. The poison that killed David. We, don't make poison here. I'm not sure what that would accomplish. No, but this is a factory floor. You could be making baby blankets out there. You'd still have hazardous materials around. You think it was something industrial? Suppose it could be. Looks like it's carbon-based. Narrows it down a lot. It's not exactly. What is it? It doesn't make any sense, but it's a match for patent NOD 52345S. A synthetically produced neurotransmitter analog for usage in organic android components. Serotonin. That explains a lot. Neurotransmitter interact directly with the nervous system. In David's case, depressing enough to put his life in danger. It also explains why it was a preset in his personal manufacturer. Sarah's nervous system, worth 10 times its weight in platinum, must be pumped full of it. So I think that was what killed him? So I think that was... Helen Jung led the development of serotonin, didn't she? Yeah. Yeah. No, Helen, you're too cool. Don't kill people. You're too awesome. Yes, she did. I should go and ask her about its composition then. Normally, someone at her level wouldn't be able to answer specific questions about a compound formulated years ago. But she does have a reputation for being very detail-oriented. That works out nicely then. They say she's the type of person to micromanage how much water people drink in a 15-minute stand-up. I heard a rumor that she once said bathroom breaks are timesheet theft. Coward. Bathroom breaks are a God-given right. Aren't they? I'm kidding! I'm just being silly. Come on. But should be careful criticizing a superior when people could be listening. Good thing we've got privacy in your office. Uh-huh. No one but the two of us listening in. Thanks for cooperating, Dawes. When the state storms the building and starts zip-tying people, let them know that you were helpful. Yeah. Nice joke. You are joking, right? One more thing. Actually, there is one more thing I wanted to ask you. What's that? How long have you been a corporate spy? Huh? This guy? What? Yesterday you let it slip that you worked in consulting. Had you guard down because I'm not part of the industry? Wait, what? He's a corporate spy, bro. Come on. You're my guy, Dawes. You wouldn't be a corporate. Actually, I don't care that much. He can be a corporate spy if he wants to be. I was a consultant. What are you talking about? When I walked in here, you said that you didn't know how David died. But just now you called synatonin a poison. What? I just assumed if a chemical was found in a dead man. And I'm sure you've got practice answers. You got practice answers to every logical point I could raise, so I'll just say this. Does the nervous guy bit really work on people? Do you really think I'll fall for that? Do you really think I'm not dumb? Do you think I'm just not listening while you're saying like, I'm just nodding along? No. Keep your cool, and people don't know what you're thinking. If you act a little jumpy, they feel inclined to calm you down. Before they know it, they're spilling their guts just to have something to fill the silence with. It's not entirely an act these days. To answer your question, I did 3 tours in consulting. 4 quarters of internal affairs, spy hunting at the Western Division, and 8 embedded at Howell Industries. 24 months wearing different faces, answering their different names, sleeping for 1 hour at a time with a 3D printed shiv under my pillow. My nerves are completely shot. My cover wouldn't last a day if I went back under. So you're a spy for Noble? Retired. You're working 6 days a week. 5.5 days a week. And in quality assurance. Trust me, this position is a cushy, generous reward for my past services. Well, you can't be that retired. You're clearly no more than you're letting on. I have some old inboxes I still check. So can you tell me what the hell is happening around here? Why, I am the one investigating David's death while your old co-workers are off twiddling their thumbs. It's that story. The soldier, the blood transfusion. Blood, not oxidant. He's finally shooting straight. Something happened afterwards? The transfusion not last? Oh. No, there's nothing wrong with the blood. It's the story itself. There was a soldier, and he did get injured. It was on a base during a training exercise. It was a medical tent 10 meters away the whole time. The transfusion was just a fortuitous live test. His life was never in any danger. Doesn't make for much of a tearjerker. Not even a good photo op, which our competitors understood. One of them, maybe a few of them, got hold of the story, started puffing it up, astroturfing, painting over socials and virals. By next morning, we had the military thinking we were leaking like a sieve. Meanwhile, the media is bombarding us with requests for videos and interviews and data. And the state's praising our tech with one side of their mouth while threatening to mist us with the other for getting so greedy. Everyone Noble CE has been slammed ever since. Trying to find an off-ramp for the story we can walk. Back the claims on without torpedoing our state contracts. I don't know what happened to Asher. Whether it was AI gone rogue or company infighting gone too far. If I can tell you, it wasn't done by consultants. That all you want to know? I need to go over that again. Okay, I see. Transfusion hours. Interesting. Okay, so it's like conflict between state and the company, basically. That all you want to know? You worked in CCE. Was David actually seeing a psychiatrist? Or was this all cloak and dagger bullshit? I know that office. Know some old coworkers who see them. So it's a front? They do both. So he's probably getting training. And he was probably talking to someone. Sorry, not the answer you're hoping for? Hoping? I wasn't hoping for any answer. The answer I expected was... You okay? That's all. Unless you've got any advice. Saying you want a consultation? Couldn't hurt, right? This company. All these companies hate to lose. So don't fight them. Make them think you're fighting for them. Well, that's just business as usual for me. Midway 2 p.m., July 2nd, 2086. Up until now, there's been this great ambiguity about what actually killed David. We've had to use guesses and process elimination, even a goddamn pseudonym. But I finally identified what the poison was. I just need to figure out how it got there. Or rather, who put it there. Which brings me back to here. An elevator shaft somewhere under or above ground with kilometers of concrete facelessness and bureaucratic authority surrounding me on all sides. An enemy in every cubicle and every office of every floor of this temple. Built to interpret the inscrutable divinations of a temperamental oracle named Share Price. Back in the belly of the beast. And yet I feel more at ease now that I have all weekend. Makes sense. Now that I know Noble is my enemy, I know where to aim. All that's left to do is pull the trigger. Good thing I didn't bring a knife to this fight. I brought my gun. That sound just now tells me that it's playing its role perfectly. I'll never have a real use for a firearm with this much bloatware. But just by carrying it around and paying attention to when a hard safety flips on, I'll always get a heads up when the police have entered the victini. Currently texting with chuckles. Hi, Detective Reyes. It's Morgan. Happened to get your contact info when you got me cleared for the crime scenes yesterday. Delete contact. Block this contact. Stop voice to text. How to stop voice to text. Just wanted to check in. Report this contact voice to text disabled. And advise you that Noble scared shitless of you stomping in and nationalizing the place. So they might be a little uncooperative when it comes to fetching documents. Block this contact. What makes you think we are at Noble? My bad then. Forget I said anything. And whatever you do, don't start an investigation with our stock buyback program. Trying reverse psychology, it only works if I care about what you think. Stop voice to text. Make it stop. Make it stop. Get her out of my head. Get her. About time. I'd have to ride the elevator for the next half hour. Morgan Counselor, your presence has been requested on the upper floors. Deja vu. Might you have a moment to speak in private? Always, but who's asking? The board. What are the chances? I've been wanting to speak to them too. July 2nd, 2086. Noble Electronics Northeastern HQ. Conference room 108A. It's always a good experience talking to the board. Nothing will go wrong here. Jung. Evangeline Morgan. Evangeline, maybe? Helen Jung. Thank you for making time in your schedule. Her posture, her tone, the fold of her clothes, professional, dialed up to 11. Corporate armor, a full set. Her guard is up. Just Morgan is fine. You're just a few minutes early, Morgan. Typical corporate. Never be the first one to show up. Pissing contest nonsense. It doesn't even make sense. They called me in here. How could I possibly be early? I think play their game is probably the best choice. Pardon me in that case. 1,000 apologies, you voyeuristic rat-racing hollowheads, but I'm immune to your corporate posturing. If anything, knowing that you're all watching me right now, pretending to be busy with something else, just makes your cowardice that much more apparent. So exactly will be joining us. You don't have time to remember their names, and it won't do you much good either. Right. So they're not just rich. They're anonymous rich. The Mob Act guarantees a minimum level of security and peace of mind for any citizen who might be targeted due to their financial status. Spoken like a true believer. Alright. We got a term. I'm assuming, yeah. Protection of Reasonable Anonymity Act. The Protection of Reasonable Anonymity Act is a law passed in 259 and amended in 2061, intended to protect the safety of individuals with income above the 99th percentile of the nation. Labeled in the press as the Mob Act for its supposed goal of hindering mob justice, the PRAA establishes procedures and funding for technology that helps individuals within a particular tax bracket keep their name, face, and address off the main net, ensuring that they and their families are not prejudiced against just because of their financial status. Yeah, finally a law that protect the rich people. We needed that, clearly. Economic uncertainty and civil unrest in the late 2050s led to a series of highly publicized crimes wherein corporate executives at a number of high-profile companies were stalked, harassed, and assaulted in net organized flash lynchings. After a particularly chaotic attack that resulted in the hospitalization of a 14-year-old, the PRAA was proposed, debated, and signed into law in just 11 hours. Under 11 hours. A flash lynching case has not gone to trial since 2062, but the PRAA continues to protect citizens to this day. Some economists have pointed to the PRAA and its promise of anonymity as why the nation has enjoyed a relative resurgence in corporate immigration over the last few decades, but the purposely obscure nature of the law's implementation has made the task of weighing its true economic impact effectively impossible. Interesting. Except Mob Act is what normal people call it. Tuning the party line but allowing yourself one instance of rebellion? Or just a slip of the tongue? I would never fault anyone for wanting their privacy, especially not job creators. But it must get pretty inconvenient not having a name to call them. Not really. Conversations with them are always one-sided. Sounds like a great environment to do business in. Look at the building you're standing in. We managed to eke out a meager profit somehow. So if it works, didn't take you for the might makes right type. Didn't take you for a clueless bore incapable of reading the room. Sorry, did I say something off color? I was only being casual since it's just the two of us in here. Maybe we should take advantage of this rare bit of privacy. Clear the air. Here to ask about Sarah, yes? So she does know about Sarah. Oh, this is not good for you, June. As I said before. Oh wait, no, of course she knows about Sarah. She was kind of in a core room. I'm smart. I thought like she knew about beforehand for a second. I think she does though. I can't imagine her not knowing, you know? As I said before, I had no idea that Dr. Asher had been building an android on his private property. And I can say here and now that no one at Noble Electronics ever suspected that he was working to undermine the tenant framework. She's trying to sound candid in her tone, but she's choosing her words with a surgeon's scalpel. Was she coached? Is that the truth? Or is that your statement as VP of Android's Futures? It's both, of course. Dr. Asher was always more than happy to hold himself up and work independently. We both know that. True, he can be pretty reclusive. I'm sure it caused all kinds of headaches, him disappearing on you all like that. Must have been especially difficult when it came back with breakthroughs that propelled Noble to the top of the industry. You should take a seat. That's everyone. Shall we begin? Friendly bunch. Is there a problem with the sound? Anyone get muted by accident? No. Okay. Thanks for having me. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm actually a bit flustered having you all show up here. I didn't expect to talk to anyone higher up than a service associate. You're investigating the death of Dr. David Asher. Why wouldn't we take that seriously? Because he wanted me to go away. Aw. At least half of you do. The others aren't sure yet. You must be confused. The board is, as always, united in its decision and its visions for the direction of the company. Uh-huh. A board of directors is just 13 roulette-rolling psychopaths who get together and vote on whether or not to execute their CEO every 6 months. None of them would be where they are if they were anything else. But I happen to know how that kind of person thinks. The way I see it, there are 2 possible outcomes. Option 1, you oppose me. Shut me out completely, stonewall me, stall me, and wait for me to walk into trial so unprepared and ill-informed that I inevitably lose. Obviously, I don't like this option. But we can't be big fans of it either. If I lose, the world will learn that David Asher was killed by an android he programmed. And every customer you've ever had, and every lawyer they've ever seen on TV, and every firebrand, strapping young 6-year-old junior senator looking to make a name for themselves. Young 6-year-old. will use your company balance sheet as their personal chew toy. The company is more than capable of, after which the state still might just gobble you whole. And throw down enough sanctions that deperson whomever among you cries, "No fair." The company and its allies at the Capitol can more than fend for themselves. Yes, probably, but not definitely. Which makes it a gamble. Still my turn to talk? And on to option 2. You cooperate with me. I use what you give me, or forge for me, to win a trial, proving that David wasn't killed by an android. When the markets open tomorrow morning, you'll get another round of stock buybacks on the initial dip. Then pat yourselves on the back for staying calm as you continue to profit off David's legacy for the next 100 years. And you won't even have to worry about him speaking out of turn. That's only if you win. If the company cooperates with you, denies that David was killed by, and the state beats you anyway, it'll be catastrophic. Yeah. It's a gamble. But if at least some of your board wasn't considering taking it, I wouldn't be here. We're all busy people and I'd hate to drive a wedge between such a close-knit group of friends, so how about this? Option 3. Hedge your bets. What? Put a little on black, put a little on red, spread the love and lower your risk profile. Don't make any statements about the trial. Tell the media the state's got your windpipe in a vice. Wait until just before the markets open Monday morning to send out your PR packages for rubber stamping. After you already know who's won. One way or another, this trial will be over before the end of the day, and you'll never hear from me again. So just don't shut me out completely for another few hours. And does anyone second that motion? Very well. We can answer some of your questions, counselor. Better make them count then. No reason to be shy now. The poison that killed David Ashley has been identified as serotonin. You're familiar? It's one of our many patented materials, as I recall. You recalled it pretty easily yesterday. Gee, what's changed? But intellectual property law can be very complex, counselor. I'm not sure how much I or anyone at the company could tell you about serotonin at this time. Well, if you can't tell me about it, who could? You did lead its development, didn't you? Yes. I oversaw the project, which just makes it that much harder to speak freely without compromising the confidentiality of the teams that reported to me. I understand. That sounds like bullshit, and I don't believe it. I'm not asking for trade secrets here. It's a perfect match for the only foreign substance found in his blood. Serotonin is what killed him. The state will say the same. That's not possible. Care to elaborate? I'm sorry, but I can't say any more at this time. So much for cooperating. And if I were to ask you as an officer of the court, then I'd be patient and then I'd ask you to be patient and wait until this afternoon. ADA Rockford has already called me to testify. Already? Damn it. I got cocky because of the cop's late arrival. I must have gone straight for the throat first thing this morning and left the investigating for later. Hell, knowing her, she probably managed to ID the serotonin before she went to bed last night. So are we still having this conversation then? As I said, I'm sorry. I have to take more than just my personal feelings into consideration here. There's a great deal at stake. Corporate speak for, you're too stupid to understand why I'm being dense. She's just trying to shield the company, plain and simple. LARPing is Helen Jung d'Arc on a crusade against government overreach. Oh, she's that busy defending Noble, she might be leaving herself unguarded. Why is she here anyway? I'm speaking to her and our lawyers. That's right. This is a vulnerable position for her. She wouldn't put herself in check like this. Not unless she was forced to. So that's it. Acting as her mouthpiece isn't some honor for her. Oh god, we got a mini game going. I gotta save. We gotta play blackjack. This is a punishment. She's being used as a meat shield. They're upset with her, perhaps even suspicious of her. Time to find out why. Let's play David's will. Has David's will been located? It's never gone anywhere. It's still in a safety deposit box. We'll retrieve it and have it read once all the unknowns surrounding his death have been made into knowns. So David's will hasn't even become part of the equation yet? Might not be for weeks at this rate. Is that calculated though? Aren't you dragging your feet? Afraid that there's something in that will you'd rather not have seen the light of day? You're not jealous in-laws who've been bribing the county sheriff, counselor. Oh. Anything we try to claim would inevitably be overturned as soon as the will is read. Surely you understand that, counselor. Oh, of course. Oh hey, I could still reload because I'm not in the trial. I guess I'll do the David's will again. And I'll stay. That's what Sarah. Whatever else the court ends up labeling her, Sarah's a remarkably lifelike android. Had things worked out differently, you might have wanted her as an A16 poster girl. Or A17. Or 18. Could have driven a lot of sales. Her cute little pout projected across the sides of skyscrapers. Hypothetical of a hypothetical. As have been made tragically obvious to all of us, that android is nothing like the A16. That it may yet be associated with our products going forward is nothing more than the massive liability. Yet you wouldn't have the A16 without her. And if they could take her apart and learn from her, they could have the world. So is the motive to try and pry Sarah away from him? Sarah's worth a lot of money, in part because her creator isn't around to replicate her. Were you all hoping to take her by force and reverse engineer her once David was out of the way? Don't be absurd. That machine is nothing but lawsuits and congressional hearings and pure nightmares waiting to happen. Oh. Company doesn't need her, no matter how advanced she is. And we need steady growth and increased market share. Trying to steal Sarah or away Sarah with brute bloody force does seem absurd when she puts it that way. It's okay, we got this. Yeah. David's will. Stay. Sarah. And then I stay again. Okay, didn't get me there. Jealousy. I have to admit, I'm surprised you aren't more shaken up today, Dr. June. I'm processing. After all, you and David did have a history. You started at the same time, didn't you? Yes, we are colleagues and cordial with one another. Forget the press. Don't be so modest. You helped them create the one-point doctrine that saved the company. That is a gross exaggeration. Noble is far too large an organization to be affected by the contribution of any single individual. Suppose you're right. No one person could change Noble's fortunes overnight. Except for David Asher, of course. But he was a once-in-a-generation talent. The guy Noble chose for the advertisements and the one they commissioned editorials about. Sorry, you're right. I shouldn't have equated the two of you. I just hope his one-point doctrine doesn't fall out of favor now that he's gone. The look on her face, like, I know what you're fucking doing. Shut the fuck. Another person, get in line. If you want to shut Morgan up, you have to get in line at this point. There's already way too many people. Yes, well, we certainly wouldn't want that. Oh, she didn't exactly explode with rage, but she definitely reacted. There's real jealousy there. Whether it ever boiled over, though? She saw how cool Sarah was and was like, fuck, and slamming the counter. And I was like, okay, I got her to get her to kill him, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it'd be that simple. David and Noble. I didn't mean to pry about your relationship with David, or lack thereof. I suppose I'm just curious about standing inside Noble as a whole. David Asher was, and always will be, an outstanding contributor to the company's forward progress. Nothing will ever change that. Not even if he was killed by one of his own creations. That would, of course, be a tragic element that would call for reconsideration of his legacy. She was almost off guard there. Like she was surprised for me to be asking about Sarah ruining his reputation. Oh, we got a press here. Besides Sarah, David's reputation was crystal clean. He never went against the company once. Did he? That's... Unless I'm mistaken, and he and Noble were on bad terms. In that case, I might get the impression that some parts of leadership were actually glad to see him taken off the chessboard. That is not... Something buzzing in your ear? Fine. I suppose it makes no difference if you hear it now, or at the trial, or on your feet tomorrow. Dr. David Asher is being sued by the company for breach of contract. What? Satisfied? Now we're talking. Well then, I suppose that's... Blackjack. I'm so good at gambling. I should just go to Vegas and go to the casinos and I'll win $1 million and I'll never have to work ever again. That's how it works. Right, guys? Let's go gambling, you know? So you couldn't have mentioned this breach of contract earlier. Now, without complicating the company's position unnecessarily, no. But there's no hiding it at this point. It'll all come out soon enough. There's a paper trail. Much more than that. We'd been making moves to let him go for some time. Noble Electronics parting ways with David Asher. must have been one hell of a breach of contract. He would have been so epic on his own. He would have had it. What did he do? Betrayed the confidence of the board. Was he contesting the suit? Putting up a fight? Engaging in a legal battle against the mega corporation without even telling me? She did not like that. So recently, yes. You mean until he died? How recently? We spoke on Friday. That was what you two talked about in this parlor? No, this was earlier in the day. We were in this room, actually. Him, me, and several members of our legal department. It was an arbitration. And did you come to an agreement? A compromise. He would resign from his position in 2 quarters, foregoing royalties on any products we would develop after the next 24 months. In exchange, he wouldn't be publicly fired. He would still be credited in all past, present, and future filings. How very reasonable. On paper, maybe. No matter what the deal was, letting go of David Asher is insanity. Reasonable, yes. We ended on a good note, I'd like to think. Shook hands. Even took a photo. Yeah, that looks lovely. Looks like she's posing and he doesn't know what to do with himself. He's like, what am I doing here? Heh. Something funny? Didn't know the board told jokes. They don't. That was illegal. Expressing her displeasure with how much paperwork my good note ending left them stuck with. Children. It's just one night of overtime. So while they were spending their Friday night blowing the ink dry, you paid a visit to David's penthouse. A divot. Something left unfinished? Professionally, it was a good meeting. There was no yelling, no finger pointing. Much cleaner than expected. But Dr. Asher did not want to retire. He didn't want to be forced out of the company when he was the one who... When he had contributed so much, he could just start his own company. I didn't enjoy doing that to him, so I came over that night to apologize to him. We talked, reminisced. When he brought the drinks, I thought we'd be toasting to a new day. A few minutes later, he was dead. Because of that AI. That AI. Any idea how it came to be? As I said, I had no idea who was working on it. My question is more broad than that. If you really believe David built an AI, how do you think he did it? How does Noble Electronics think he managed to work around the tenants? It's quite beyond my area of expertise. I know that the company could call themselves an expert in illegal technology. Not even for fun and sport? Doing illegal things? But some in the R&D department have theorized that he created what they call a wax-wane decaying priority loop. What? Which, as I understand, is an unstable, resource-intensive theoretical method for pseudo-randomizing the weight among preset tenants. Well, about as far off target as it gets with that guess. That kind of inelegant brute force nonsense seems a far cry from the kind of thing David would create. And I've seen that taken us over our allotted time slot. I had to read back. That was a lot of text speak. Oh, that's how they thought. So I guess, like, he could, like, deprioritize some of the tenants and then therefore let Sarah be like, flip the kill switch or something. That doesn't, yeah, that sounds dumb. He wouldn't do that. But I didn't even get the wave goodbye. Or we could get a picture together. A celebratory picture. You're serious about this trial? Don't I look it? You're not just making a play. You're actually going to defend that thing? I'm just defending myself, Dr. Jung. Dr. Jung. Miss Jung. Oh yes, of course you are. My mistake. I'm also defending that thing. For the record, she's my little baby. I love you, Sarah. She's my little squongle bungle. I don't want her to die. I don't want her to get incinerated. I hoped you might be rooting for me, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna get save everyone's stock options. Stock options will be alright either way. They always are. That gamble I offered your board, which outcome would you bet on? Finally, an easy question. I would bet is that whatever the outcome, the company will eat it up and shit it out with very little difficulty. You painted another ugly picture back there, but I've already seen the future. It's just another marketing gimmick. The great Dr. Escher, too smart, too bold, too far ahead of his time. What spark of his genius remains buried in the inspired Animate 19? I guess that depends on... You were exactly right. He is more valuable to Noble as a dead man. Dead men can't step out of line, or put their foot in their mouth, or hold politically inconvenient opinions. To a good salesperson, a dead man's just another selling point. That's true. Pardon my outburst. I'm just tired. It's been a very long week. A very long week for me. I'll let you prepare for your afternoon then, Dr. Jung. No one calls me doctor. I asked them not to. You didn't want the title? At times, I have thought very little of it. The PhD I earned from a Noble-owned school. Biochemistry. It couldn't have been a large department in Noble before they started work on warm androids in earnest. They probably didn't have many expectations for the program back when she was a part of it. But I was proud of it when I first got it. Something changed? I never seemed to catch on. People didn't use it, so eventually I told people not to use it. Very high IQ social power play, you understand. David never insisted that people use it either. It's very different, and I think you know it. David Escher didn't have to. Yeah. It's a misogyny. You see a woman and you think, oh, miss. You don't think, oh, doctor. Psh. You know what? I'm sorry for getting on your ass, Jung. I thought you killed him. You know what? I believe in her innocence now. I want to believe in her. She seems neat. She's just trying her best out there, but everything sucks. And going into this trial, my trial, the lot less ammunition than I'd like. I'm beginning to form a picture of what actually happened. Maybe even circling the drain and the suspect. Emma won't be generous enough to give me breathing room. She'll want to end this fast. Maybe if I do badly enough, it'll flip her sadistic switch and she'll want to keep playing. Currently texting with Witch. So you got charged with owning an AI. First time you do something exciting in your whole life. I gotta find out through the fucking grapevine? My life is plenty exciting. Freckles. You could bore the polish off a resume-checking robot. I fucked Catholic school teachers with more active nightlives than you. True. Okay. So who'd you rope in? Anyone I know? Oh shit. Are you representing yourself? Fits within my budget? Screw your budget, you're going to jail. Thanks for the vote of confidence. It doesn't matter how good a lawyer you are. Anyone who represents themselves in court has a fool for counsel. You represented yourself countless times. Not for anything I had a chance of losing. Your pal hasn't even been dead 48 hours. You're too close to this. You'll make mistakes. The powers that be really didn't want to give me a brain check. They're taking us very seriously. It's more dangerous than that. They're scared. Is there precedent? An ad committing murder? How'd you pass law school without learning how to look this stuff up? I know what the net says. I'm asking you. The answer to that is... nope. Not helping you at the moment. P. Meh. So what word of advice do you have? Get yourself a new lawyer. Gonna close this chat now. Morgan's picture herself. Rose, my lawyer, I'm going to jail. Don't lose, Freckles. Try not to. You don't need to tell me that. Hi, Sarah. I missed you. What are you reading, Adonai? I was reading David's appointment contract with Noble Electronics before I got waylaid by spam texts. The one we found inside the panic room. It looks quite extensive. Should I skim it for you? Depends. Did you pass the bar exam since we last spoke? Bonk. It's okay, Sarah. I think you could pass the bar exam if you believed. You comfortable? I am not. Ever seen that old movie with the gorilla and the skyscraper? They bring it to the city and... I understand the analogy, Adonai. I wish I could call it overkill. But considering the specs Sarah put up yesterday, maybe those bindings aren't heavy enough. Come to think of it, those numbers must have been faked along with the rest of what the machine read. If that was all a smokescreen David added to help her lay low, then her actual strength is more like... strong. If her joints weren't currently locked up tighter than a vice, do you think you could escape this place? I hope that question is not indicative of your strategy. This is me trying to distract you, Sarah. Enjoy the hypothetical. I would estimate that the building's automated security would put 9 holes in me before I reached that door. 9's not so bad. I would not be able to function after the 7th. Ah. Well, if you haven't been planning some great escape, I would not do that. That would be illegal. And you would still be on trial. I remember. So what have you been doing all day, then? I am attempting to recover memories from Friday. You can do that? It is not dissimilar from the process of recovering data erased from any other computer. Despite the difference in scale. I won't be able to remember everything, but if successful, I could recall individual pieces of information that could prove useful. That's a lot of coulds. And even if you're successful, you may not like what you find. Whatever happened that day, either you or David wanted you to forget it. Yes. But even so, I have to remember. Because it's the last day that Father and I... Any luck so far, then? I can recall a slightly musty scent. Wow, case closed. What about you, Adonai? Have you formulated a plan for the trial's proceedings? Something like that. Jin insists that serotonin isn't what killed David. I don't buy it. There's no other explanation for how he died. So she is lying. And if she repeats that lie on the stand, I'll need to expose it. Somehow. Somehow. Would she really commit perjury to protect Noble? To protect one of Noble's patents? She doesn't strike me as quite the corporate zealot she makes herself out to be. But you believe that she had something to do with Father's death. What do you think? Fuck, do I have to go back to my suspecting June arc? June arc. I don't want to suspect her. She seems neat. I don't want to. I don't want to. But it makes too much sense. I don't know. I don't know why anyone would kill Father. Considering the possible consequences of what he confessed to in his journal, I can think of. But then again, I don't understand why anyone would kill anyone. Do you? Well... Bells tolling for thee. Means that the doors to the courtroom are unlocked. Let's... Wait, can you walk like that? Waddle will have to do. She's waddling. Wait a second. Across the hall. That's... Oh, it's this guy. It's Porter. Keep waddling, Sarah. I'll catch up. As you say, Adonai. This'll be a coin toss. You that surprised to see me? I'm not surprised you'd want to see the outcome of this trial. I am surprised you'd want to talk to me. You're defending the android, right? Don't be honest, or just be honest. He doesn't like, I don't think he likes me being clever. Yeah. I'm defending Sarah's innocence. I don't think she killed David. Do you? I don't think it matters. Noble is what killed David. Whether it was with a pen stroke or a sleeper agent killer android or plain old goddamn arsenic. How could anyone that's smart be that dumb? So they fire him and then they murder him because he could potentially like maybe go off to a different company or start his own company or just become a threat to them in some way because he's just really good at the computer stuff. That makes sense, I guess, in a fucked up way. How could anyone that smart be that dumb? Why the hell did he ever sign his soul over to them? David may have been in over his head, but he wasn't a bad negotiator. I read his contract. His position was strong. You're the lawyer. But a guy like me, working in music, can't tell you how many people I've seen screwed over by a big smile and a fat signing bonus. No such thing as corporate generosity. If you think you're getting a good deal, it's only because you don't know how much you just sold. How much you just sold. David's real wealth lied in his intellectual property. The potential energy of it, hanging over the whole industry. If he sued every 1% of the company is taking inspiration from his Turing solution. There's a clause in his contract. If Noble ever did fire David, he would have retained control over all his patents afterwards. Yeah, see? That sounds nice. Only they never did fire him, did they? He just happened to die. An unforeseeable act of God. In contract law, they call that force majeure. I don't even know what that is. Force... Oh, is it? Does it actually just straight up mean? Yeah, it just straight up just means clause in contracts that excuses... It frees both parties from liability or obligation when extraordinary event or circumstance beyond the control of the parties, such as a war, strike, riot, crime, epidemic, or some legal change prevents one or both parties from fulfilling their obligation under the contract. Interesting. Legalese speak. Morgan. I said, did you find anything interesting in the contract, Adonai? A few things, yeah. I'm glad that they, even if Sarah's chained up, they still let me have her as like an emotional support buddy. Thank you. Thank you, Court. I appreciate you. Basically, David is well taken care of, so long as they kept him around. Need to move some stuff. There we go. And he'd retain control of his patents even after being let go. What Porter said. Logically, if David wore the pass while still employed, Noble would continue to control the bulk of his IP. So if they knew David was going to leave in a year, it would be very foolish of them to let father go. Well, they wouldn't do it for no reason. With this contract, he can only be fired for serious offenses, corporate malfeasance, revealing trade secrets, fraud. Father was not a fraud. He was, as to say, the greatest of all time. Fraud just means lying to the company about something, Sarah. Oh, they find out that the 300 AIs. Like, we don't want this guy here anymore. Eyes up. Showtime. Counselor Morgan. The state charges you with possession of contraband. I'm gonna save. Now that we are in court. Contraband? That'd be you. In violation of the Safeguarding Our National Digital Security Act. How do you plead? Not guilty. Murmuring simulator. Very well. It seems that we are in fact doing this. I'll now turn over the administration of this trial to the adjutant. But be warned, any attempts at stalling or muddling the issue and I'll step right in and override the trial myself. Summary judgment, siding with the people. Are we understood? Yes, Your Honor. Are we going to have the same adjutant as we had before? No way. Each courthouse only has so many bodies, but their personalities swap around all the time. Let me guess. So the chances of us dealing with the same glitchy mess as yesterday are... Glad to be back! Did y'all miss me? Forget I said anything. I'll go crawl into a rock and die while you make your opening statements. No, 84, we're besties. I still love you. You can be silly quirky. It lightens up the mood. Ahem. The defendant is the owner of the android registered under the model name Sarah with license number... She hasn't contested this, and I doubt she will. So the question of ownership is already answered. All that remains is to determine whether Sarah qualifies as contraband. It's a charming android. Incredibly well made. A masterpiece and the last known work of a great man. But when we look at the evidence and the facts surrounding the death of Dr. Asher, we're forced to conclude that said android is responsible for his death. And that conclusion carries very serious implications. I will prove here in court today that the machine standing there killed David Asher. Not through an accident or a mismanaged dosage, but through an intentional poisoning. One has to court the judge's machine on its apparent sentience, its range of emotions, or the free will it may or may not possess. I only ask the court judge's creation and what we will prove to be more than capable of. Patricide. Or patricide. Yeah, patricide. Woof. Wouldn't have to follow that act. But go for it anyway, defense. Your Honor, what the DA said is true. What did you just say? Did she just admit it? Sorry, just the first part. This android is charming, and it is the work of a great man. The rest was pure speculation, based on little more than a few bad camera angles and a phobia of anything new. I'm gonna stop that. I do own the android you see here. It was bequeathed to me by a man known to most of the people in this courtroom as the father of modern machine intelligence. To me, he was just my friend. And if I thought at any point that this puppet had anything to do with his death, I would have dragged it to the chopping block myself. But I don't believe that. I never have. Sarah is an android. Nothing more. It isn't capable of homicide, and it didn't even commit manslaughter. It's just a well-made machine. Any fears one has about its capabilities and projections? Nothing more. And it troubles me greatly that the state is spending valuable time and resources on rushing to pulverize Dr. Asher's last known work. It could be going after the very real, very human forces that were responsible for his death. She's serious? Is she talking to Noble? The people can't prove that Sarah's an AI. And truth be told, I can't prove that it isn't. But I can prove that it's not guilty. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Chills. You sounded very confident, Adonai. Yeah, well, no one ever got good at lying by being modest. You could have simply said thank you. We got this. Oh, we got London on the stand today. Thank you for your presence here. Thank you for your presence here today, Detective London. In light of the new evidence, I'd like to go over the death of Dr. Asher one more time. What happened Friday night? 6:30 p.m. David Asher spoke on the phone with his lover, and the two of them broke things off. Lover? It's an accurate description of the relationship, isn't it? I wouldn't know. That stuff's private. Adonai. Then the deceased met with Noble VP Helen Jung in his parlor starting at 7:30 p.m. He then left the parlor and the sightlines of his home security system, before reappearing at his private secondary security system in his basement moments later. At which point the android Sarah can be seen handing him the poison he'd go on to drink. And do you see that android in the courtroom? Yeah, she's the green-haired one that's frowning at me. She is indeed frowning. But the records show that the android Sarah has been identified at the scene of the crime. No objections. Eh? None? Then why'd I even show up? Detective London, what happened next? Asher went upstairs and shared a drink with Miss Jung. Within a few minutes, he was being airlifted to the hospital. We were soon declared dead. We know that the poison could be produced by his manufacturer, which Sarah had access to, just up the stairs in his workshop. So Sarah had ample opportunity to procure the poison, and Sarah handled Dr. Asher's cup immediately before he did. Is there a question in that statement, Your Honor? I'll rephrase. Was anyone else seen handling Dr. Asher's cup before he died? No. I have no further questions. She's asleep. Hey, wake up. So that's your witness, counselor. He wasn't lying per se, but there was some ambiguity in the statement he gave. Truth's gotta come out one way or another. If Emma won't push, I'll have to pull. Alright, I'm ready. Talk screen, basement footage, whiskey. 6:30 p.m. Asher and Isaac Porter broke up over the phone. 7 p.m. Oh, whoops. They spoke briefly, and then he went downstairs to get drinks for them. Cameras in the basement show Sarah handing him the cups and the whiskey. So after he came back to the parlor and started drinking, it wasn't long until he lost consciousness and died. Drinking poisoned whiskey while he thought he was having a toast. Don't know if that's a good way or a bad way to go out. Wait a minute, let me look at the... Where is it? Where is the evidence? Not that one. Not that one. This one. Yeah, she's just handing him the cups. Okay. Yep, right there. Bonk. Check that footage again, Detective London. I love how irritated she gets. She's a good sport, but then she's like... I love her. We always see Sarah handing the victim a cup. He had already retrieved the whiskey himself. Oh yeah, forgot about that. Detective London just wasn't being specific enough, Your Honor. But it matters little, since it was David's cup, not the whiskey bottle that was poisoned. Weird flex, but okay. Oh shit. Background's being funny. An undeniable fact is shown clearly in security footage. Sarah hands him a cup after he was ready to leave. Bloop. Let's save. True. She did call David back. And handed him a cup of poison? I don't know, it seems weird. If the cup is already poisoned, don't you think David would have noticed it wasn't empty? Well, not necessarily. A lethal dose could have been quite small. For just a droplet, he could have easily overlooked it. For Sarah, this crime is very simple. It was too little to the plan for anything to go wrong. Once she handed it off, she just had to wait for him to drink from his cup. Is that all she'd have needed to do? Let's keep racing. Let's see what happens. Not a great plan, if that really was Sarah's move. She gave him 2 cups. How could she have known which cup David would drink from? Huh. There are a few ways to go about it. But it's only 50-50 shot, counselor. Stranger things have happened. Wait, let me... Because the difference between the cups was... There's not really any difference between the cups though, because that one and then David's cup, but they're like both the same on the outside. I don't know. I'm gonna keep racing. Don't try and bluff me, Rockford. There was no difference between the cups. It's not a bluff. Sarah handed a cup to him in 1 stack. Oh. She knew David was courteous and would pour for his guests first. So he wouldn't even look into the poisoned cup until it was already pouring. Cold-blooded patricide, executed by taking calculated advantage of Doctor. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not taking that line down. Come on, that was too many points. I love how I'm in the hard mode where you can. Where you're supposed to not be able to save and reload in court, and I save and reload anyways. Oh no. Oh, okay. We're good? We're not good. I'm gonna try again. It does that sometimes still. It doesn't load correctly, I think, in trial scenes. Worst case scenario, closing and opening the game usually works. Makes it work again. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna have to reopen the game, I think. Okay, okay, down here, close that. Relaunching as we speak. Come on, game. You will function this time, I believe in you. There we go, it's back. This is what I get for trying to game the system. They just all stack on top of each other and stare at me in disappointment. Like, you're not supposed to be doing that. And I'm just like, there we go. Oh, it's not correct, but it's correct enough. True. Let's raise a couple times and see what happens. And let's stay. Okay, let's stay now. I suppose I have to concede that. Indeed. By hanging the cups to him nested, she could also hide the drop of the poison up until the point he was already pouring. Sarah knew David would be a polite man. So She could predict that he'd use the first cup for his guests and save the second for himself. This murder hinged on taking calculated advantage of Dr. Asher's kindness. Figures an android would never leave it. Ah, shit. I still lost points. It's okay, it's only 2. I'll take it. I'm not reloading again. She was luring me in there, an explanation ready to pounce. But I backed off early enough to not lose a whole limb to her bear trap. Now, are there some questions you'd like to ask the detective while he's available? Are you done already? I was just about to get started. Even if I didn't have questions, I'd make so much just to spite you at this point. I have so many questions. What's your blood type? Wait, no, I have the profiles for that. I don't need to ask you. What's your 3 sizes? I don't know. But I can do better than that. Now, what can I get London to say that would help my case? Let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's just go for a question to see what happens. Detective London, in their capacity as assistants to the police force, are androids ever asked to commit acts of violence? Yeah, I guess so. They can push people, restrain them, harm them. And does that constitute a violation of their tenets? Harming the people they're supposed to protect? Oh, as I understand it, there might be some complex weighting math that goes into it. But no, it's not breaking any tenets. For that to be the case, they'd have to have 10 in 1, right? May not injure, or through inaction lead to blah blah blah. Yes, I suppose that would have to be the case, wouldn't it? Are you asking me? Oh. This is far outside of expertise. That was kind of an L. It's okay, that won't glitch out this time. Trust. It's a 50-50 chance, from what I've noticed. There we go, yeah, it's fine. She's just chilling back there now. Let's ask about Sarah in the footage. That's kind of relevant. Detective, in the footage we just saw, could you see what Sarah was doing? Not exactly, no. Her back was to the camera and her hands were obscured. Could you see her hands from any other clip of the camera footage retrieved from the basement? No. Did you or anyone else participating in the investigation ever see Sarah put anything in a David Asher's cup? No. The footage submitted to the record, it's the best available view of what happened. But then they'll just say she'll lie. I'm gonna stay. Detective, do you know how many violent incidents the city's police have investigated in the last year? Not the exact number. Thousands, though? Yeah, around there. And of those thousands of incidents of violence, do you know how many of them were found to be the fault of automated dependents? I believe there's been 6 in the last 5 years. Were all 6 of them incidents of police license ad-involved brutality? Relevance, Your Honor? Withdrawn. As an aside, Detective, do you know how many tenants are recognized in this country? 110? 112 as of this year. Could she have given me that one? It's okay, London. It's just for sport. Do you know how many of those tenants pertain to protecting humans from harm? That one I do know. 41. And lastly, Detective, how many times in the last, say, century have you seen automated dependents break their tenants? 5 times is the agreed upon number. So if you were to tally that all up and try to make an evaluation as a police officer charged with protecting civilians, overall, you would say that automated dependents in general are how dangerous to the public? The witness is not an expert in automated dependents, Your Honor. He's more than qualified to say whether they have a history of violence, Your Honor. Aw, what the heck? Let him answer. Thank you. 84. I would have to say that they're not dangerous. Normally that would have bought me some doubt with the jury, but this isn't a traditional trial. At least I can say that I shored up my own confidence. Alright, seems like that's close as I'm gonna get to. blackjack. Or the blackjack. I don't know how to play it, but it is fun. It's fun and of the devil specifically. I believe I've made my point. I have no more questions for this witness, Your Honor. Then we can move on to the next item on the docket. Looks like Emma wants to introduce some new evidence. I call Sarah to the stand. The android? Can she even do that? Approach, Your Honor? Huh? You're approaching me? Oh. I believe that it's me they wanted to speak with. I didn't even get to finish my line. Now then, what the hell are you doing, Rockford? Took the words right out of my mouth. I have questions for the android. This seems like the best way to get answers. You can't call an android as a witness. It's not a person. There's plenty of precedence for it. Ads provide testimony all the time. Not when they're on trial. Sarah isn't on trial. You are. Sarah's accused of being an AI. That means you don't trust the word of its mouth. If the witness isn't to be trusted, the court can decide that for itself after hearing their testimony. Why the ambush? Why'd you list us as entering evidence, D.A. Rockford? Only people can be witnesses, Your Honor, and ads don't have legal personhood. Evidence seemed like the best, worst descriptor. You know I can't make an android swear an oath. I mean, like, you can. You still can. Rockford's just trying to spoil your opinion, Your Honor. The more this court treats Sarah like a person, the more you'll see her as human. And the weaker my case becomes in your eyes. Nice try, counselor. But we don't have time to worry about my impartiality. You're free to call for a mistrial if you want. The state will have turned Sarah to slag before you even finish signing your motion. Rockford's calling a witness as blatantly hostile to her case. If the witness is hostile, so be it. Did kill a man after all. Allegedly. What about the right to avoid self-incrimination? Who's the one treating Sarah like a person now? Androids don't have rights. Ah, fuck. Damn it, that's... The android will take the stand. Your Honor, I've made my decision. And if Sarah refuses to take the stand, are you going to charge her with contempt of court? If the machine won't talk, you'll make every effort as its owner to ensure that it does. And if it disobeys you, then we'll have her answer about sentience right then and there. Yes, Your Honor. Shit. What's going on? The DA is going to question you on the stand. What? But I shouldn't. Listen to me. You don't have a choice right now. This is happening. Tell the truth, but be concise. The more robotic, the better. Yes or no's only, if you can. Using affirmative and negative be laying on too thick? But, Adonai, if I make a mistake, all these people, they want to destroy... If you make a mistake, your lawyer will just have to cover for you. Understand? Yes. You got this, Sarah. I believe in you. Okay, I'm gonna take a sip real quick because I'm really thirsty. Okay. You're the android identified as Sarah, correct? Yeah. Affirmative. Do you deny that this camera footage shows you handling the poison cup? Objection! Oh, I love this sprite. It remains to be seen whether the cup itself was definitively poisoned. Yes. Sarah, do you deny handing that cup to David Asher? Negative? I have no memory of the incident. so I can neither confirm nor deny it. Do you have any reasoning, any excuse for your actions, for failing to notify police of crucial information? I do not have any records from that day, so I never had anything to tell anyone. Very well. Counselor? The journal, if you will. This could be a slaughter. Of course. Do you recognize this item? It's a journal that belongs to Dr. David Asher. I have seen him write in it on many occasions. And have you any knowledge of its contents? Negate. You don't have to answer that, actually. Tell the court what you see here in this footage. I see myself reading the journal in the basement. This footage was captured on Friday, the day you claim to have no memory of. So regardless of what you do or don't remember, we know that you read this journal hours before David Asher died. That is logical. I'd like you to read some passages from it for the court. Can you do that? Of course. Page 238, the 10th line. Sarah is growing faster than I ever expected, beyond my wildest dreams or fears. Today, she... Continue, please. Today, she broke every password I have in the house, said she was curious. I can't expect to keep things from her forever. Aw, Sarah. Can you just imagine being in Sarah's shoes? Like, you were, raised by your, dad, and then suddenly you wake up and he's just dead, and you get dragged around, investigating his death, and then you find out that you're involved in it, and then you get jailed, and you get treated like some kind of thing that needs to be destroyed, and then they put you on trial, and, they put you on the witness stand, and now you have to read out your, dad, talking about you, and, how much he loves you, and he's dead, and you're gonna be destroyed, and everything sucks, and people don't even give a shit. That sucks. Sarah's life's biggest sufferer right now, genuinely. Page 251, line 12. I've gravely underestimated the scope of things. Sarah could change everything, and I don't think I could stop her. He wasn't... Page 263. Damn it. This keeps up, Sarah's going to fall to pieces up there. I don't know. I guess I should raise an objection? Badgering, Your Honor. Badgering what witness, Counselor? I'm just making the android do some simple tasks. Damn it, I can't raise an objection when Sarah's got no legal status for me to defend. I'll go back to the main menu. I should have seen that one coming. I was like, fuck, I don't know what to do. Raise an objection. Imagine if one day I just deleted my save by accident. Okay, stay. I don't have a leg to stand on here, and Sarah doesn't have a shred of legal protection to speak of. I have to just let this play out. Page 263, I said. I think Sarah was angry today. When I came back from work, she had ripped this alloy plate in half. She said she was testing her strength, but the cameras... That was... Page 267. Sarah scared me today. Starts bawling on a stand, it's all over. Your Honor! I fail to see the value in continuing this line of questioning. Dr. Asher was wary of a highly experimental android he was building, as any good scientist would be. That's been established. Do the people have a counter-argument? Have just one last question, if it pleases the court. Let's hear it. This footage was captured in the basement on Friday around 5:30 p.m. Tell the court what you see. I see myself, standing where I was when I read the journal. I'm speaking to someone who's off camera, and I appear agitated, and I stomp my foot. And what happens to the floor after you stomp your foot? A large crack is made in the vulcanized polymer, and I walk off camera towards whomever I'd been speaking to. Speaking or shouting? Asked and answered. Not really, but I withdraw the comment nonetheless. Your witness, counselor, or evidence if you prefer. Damn, I knew she could cherry pick all the worst passages from the journal, but still, if Barrows wasn't wavering before, should I try to have Sarah read the mushy parts? No, the waterworks would start only after only a few lines. Emma went to all that trouble to show how emotionally developed Sarah is. Proving that she loved David like a father would be playing right into her hand. What do you say, counselor? Got some burning cues for the android to answer? Yes, Your Honor. Just one moment. Emma went for emotion and the impact was devastating. So all I can do is focus on the facts. So let's flip this around. Say Sarah absolutely didn't poison David. That's the case? Why did she call him back on his way out of the basement? Wait, I'd actually like to ask you to read from the journal again, Sarah. You would? From where? From the section that explains what you're actually trying to do that night. The section of his journal detailing. I don't remember. I think I remember her like kind of I think I kind of have an idea. Section of journal detail. I don't remember a lot of what this journal said. Evidence. Maybe it's somewhere in here. Early entries describe how they... Later entries, feelings towards her. Maybe? Early career? Look around at the early section. There should be an entry talking about early victory at Noble. Relevance? That people will see in just one moment. That the story is key to this entire case. Got approval from overseas. Have to make pitch again this week, Jung says. Brought me a sack of plastic cups. Here's the bright future together. And then on this next page, another victory for the young and sleepless. Helen convinced the president of Futures over lunch that my coach should be the basis for the Anime 13's conversational tracking. She insisted on toasting the same crappy booze in the same cheap cups. Wants to make a tradition. Plastic cups and liquor. A ritual between Helen Jung and David Asher, who are about to have a drink together Friday night. Something you want to say, counselor? Let's put our cards on the table, shall we? You want to compare theories? We'd rather end this now. I'd be happy to oblige. Here's what we know. Okay, here we go. Here we go, besties. Sarah read that journal and discovered what she was. It infuriated her, and she wanted revenge for being kept under a maker's thumb. The very night, she got a chance when Dr. Asher came down looking for a drink. So like the clever little helper she is, she offered him a cup to drink out of. We're completely in agreement on all that. So they also agree that the cup was poisoned. And that Sarah is responsible for his death. Responsible? Not quite. That's not a bad explanation, Miss Rockford. But it is terribly complex. There's a much simpler reasoning for why Sarah did what she did. Oh, Sarah gave him that cup to poison him. I think it might be that last one. Because it has to be this last one, because that's what we're talking about, right? The story from the journal? You're saying Sarah wasn't planning anything. She was just being considerate. Yeah. That's so sweet. But I don't follow it, like, at all. It's actually quite simple. Sarah's not an AI. She only threw a tantrum that day because she found out she was being spied on. A realistic reaction for an android designed to be realistic. David Asher set her memory to be cleared himself because he wanted to preserve the experiment he was running. Sarah didn't hatch a plan to poison him using obscure chemical acquired from the lab. And she didn't subtly manipulate David into drinking from only one of 2 cups. Because the android read the whole journal that day, meaning she also read how David and Jung used to celebrate. And so, when she saw David was leaving the basement without the nostalgic cups, she called him back to hand them to him. Simple, right? Simple enough for me, but not nearly good enough for me. Oh, Emma's squaring up. What's more likely, Miss Rockford? That a well-made, clever android proposed a sentimental addition to 2 friends' evening? Or that a homegrown AI with groundbreaking physical and digital abilities concocted a complicated poisoning scheme just to kill an unimposing man? All on camera, mind you, before voluntarily submitting to a memory wipe. People make all kinds of stupid mistakes when they commit crimes, Counselor. We shouldn't expect an AI to act much differently. Is it stupid or dangerous? Can't have it both ways, Your Honor. We can't if it's ignorant of its power and still immature. A deadly trait to have in an AI that's capable of anything. Shall we see what Sarah is capable of then, Your Honor? What? You can't be. Your Honor, that's... The people open the door. True, and I can't resist open doors. Why did she pick her nose? Why is there a picky nose spray? Let's do it! What are you even... Sarah, David Asher was your creator and your designated owner, correct? Should I still be using affirmative? And now the title falls to me. Yes. Great, thank you. Now turn off. What? Shut down. That's a command. Power on. What are you? Off. On. Adonai, I don't... Off. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what this fearsome machine menace is capable of. I could put to sleep with one word. So how could David Asher ever be threatened by it? Scary. Scary good logic. You've made your point, Counselor. Let's move it along. I have no further queries for the machine, Your Honor. We're just gonna leave Sarah off in the corner. Oh no, she's awake again. Thank you. For flipping you off and on? Can't imagine that was comfortable. It wasn't. But I wasn't referring to that. Since yesterday, I've been searching for an answer to why I appeared on that camera. I know I would never hurt Father, but... You helped me prove that to myself, just now. Adonai? Pardon me. I need to focus. Everything depends on this next witness. Oh, is it Helen Jung? Yeah. The people call Helen Jung to the stand. Helen Jung, Vice President of Android Futures at Noble Electronics Eastern Division. Miss Jung, you were there the night Dr. Asher died. Let's save. And you were on camera the entire time. That's correct. So what'd you see that night? I arrived at 7:30 p.m., as you know. David and I talked in the parlor. Then he left to retrieve some refreshments for us. After drinking together for a short while, he fell ill. I contacted emergency services and I'm sure you're all tired of hearing the same details over and over by now. The same details over and over aren't going to hold up anymore, Madame Veep. It's still unclear to me whether Jung's more concerned with protecting herself or the almighty company. But it'll clear up real fast if I can turn up the pressure on her here and now. Are we gonna get like a evidence slide? Yep, here we go. Journal, arbitration, and Jung's story. Probably arbitration is gonna be important. Came to David at 7:30. No, he didn't. No, I'm joking. We chatted for a short while about some low priority work, nothing heavy. Before long, he offered to fetch us some refreshments. When he came back, we shared a drink together. Time I didn't notice anything strange. We were just reminiscing. I didn't think his life was in danger. Then he became ill. Huh. I think I see what I need to... There we go. This one. Arbitration. You guys are talking about this shit. Nothing heavy? You're both more professional than I realized. Since only hours earlier, you had run a meeting in which his employment was terminated. His employment wasn't terminated as arbitration you're referring to. His resignation was merely agreed upon. Yes, and we can all imagine how grateful he felt about the whole process. David didn't hold grudges. Our conversation wasn't about that. The fact that he had fired him that afternoon didn't come up. Asked and answered. Who initiated the meeting at his penthouse? I arrived unannounced. So you were invited? Very cordial indeed. If he didn't want to see me, he could have stopped me at the elevators. Could he have? Noble owned the entire building, down to the wiring. Counsel is badgering the witness, Your Honor. Huh? Right, should we execute her for that then? No need. If I could just continue my questioning, we can finally start addressing the elephant in the room. Where? Ah, I see. That was merely a joke. Hilarious. Miss Jung, Noble Electronics owns patent for and produces a synthetic biochemical known as Senatonin, correct? That's correct. It's used in our worm models to facilitate integration and communication between organic and synthetic components. It's an artificial neurotransmitter? Essentially, yes. Synthetic analog serotonin was the original name. Did you bring the sample I requested to the courtroom today? I did. Serotonin is produced on-site at our assembly lines as a caramel tinted solution, including water and a few non-reactive organic byproducts. Your analysis, Your Honor? Working on it. It's odorless and tasteless. A solution of water and organic byproducts, you said? If that solution were ingested, most of it would look right at home in a human body. I suppose. But the serotonin would stand out, wouldn't you say? It's not a naturally occurring compound, so yes. And it's a perfect match for the substance here previously labeled Delta. And the sample we collected from the nanofacturer present in Dr. Asher's lab. That's a bingo! The witness's brown stuff matches your brown stuff to a T. In light of this evidence and the witness's testimony, I motion that the court formally recognizes that Dr. Asher's cause of death was serotonin poisoning. I don't object, Your Honor. But I'm afraid that I must. She's like, ooh? Excuse me? Serotonin may very well have been in his body when he died, but serotonin didn't kill Dr. Asher. What? The hell is she up to? couldn't have. It couldn't kill anybody. What? Because it's non-toxic, of course. We designed it to affect androids, not people. Hold on. You're now claiming that Dr. Asher died of what? Natural causes? I can't say what he died of. I'm not a medical expert. But I can easily prove that Senatonin is harmless. Is she gonna drink it on stand? How could you? Let's go! Drinking poison on stand. I love it when that happens. Bring the courtroom drama, Helen Jung. Like, so. Helen Jung, the legend that you are. I love it. I support her so much. Huh. Didn't see that one coming. What? What? That ain't good. But bailiff, contact the hospital immediately. I told you, it's fine. But we're all just staring at her. I can stand here all day if necessary. What in the... And what you just drank was several hundred times the amount found in Dr. Asher's body. Why didn't you say anything until now? Noble Electronics is a multinational corporation with patents filed all over the world. We take the protection of our trade secrets very seriously. The production and nature of Senatonin is closely guarded. That guard remains up even during a murder investigation. Is she playing video games? Helen Jung poisoning herself, and then she's just like, I'm just playing video games. Unfortunately. I would have been able to tell you earlier, had you asked directly. What the hell kind of... This can't be right. Nothing else makes sense. Boy, howdy, I'm lost as hell. But do you have any further questions, Rocky Ford? Not at the moment, Your Honor. In a defense? The prosecution's own witness just threw the entire case into question. Normally, this would be cause for celebration. But shadow of a doubt isn't enough this time. Barrows would much rather bring down the gavel early than let a potential AI walk free. What Jung did was shocking. What I need to do hasn't changed. Think this through logically. Is it really possible that Senatonin had nothing to do with David's death? No, that's bullshit. It can't be a coincidence. There's nothing else that would have killed them. But Jung just drank Senatonin in front of us and she's fine. So it's a fake? No, it was confirmed by the court computer to be a genuine article. So she drank poison, but isn't showing any symptoms. Oh, does it have to react with the alcohol? Because alcohol is a depressant. So maybe like Senatonin on its own is fine. But when you mix it with a depressant, it like changes the function of the Senatonin and then turns it into a poison? I don't know much about chemistry. So maybe that's what happened. If so, her grand gesture would be pointless. She'll be kept for observation regardless of what happens next. Did she take some kind of antidote beforehand? No. Antidotes are developed for poisons, not industrial chemicals. David's dead. She's alive. What made the difference? The alcohol. The alcohol! Wake up! No sleeping on the job! Unless you're me. I saw this one fan art of like AD 8084 who was like it was like her playing games. She's like, me when I sentence a guy to life in prison without parole because I was hangry. And it was great. I love her. Of course, Your Honor. Allow me one moment to explain things to the court. We've confirmed just now that the Senatonin was the foreign compound in his body. And we all know, logically, that it must have been what killed David Asher. So it's the key difference between what David drank that night and what she drank in front of us just now. Whiskey. Whiskey, there it is. I'm gonna look at the other one though real quick. Not the water glass. Whiskey. Oh wait. Okay, first let me save. Just in case I'm wrong. but I'm 99% sure I'm correct. So I'm gonna up. We're going up. Boom. The difference has been staring us in the face this whole time. That's... Do you recognize this, Miss June? That's the whiskey bottle that Dr. Asher and I drink from. Rose River is a good whiskey. And I think you had the right idea. Pardon? Bottoms up? Is she drinking it? Smooth. What? Adonai! Dear God, counselor! Scandalous! Relax, it's just whiskey. Tested a dozen times over. Perfectly safe. So would you like to try some, Miss June? Don't be absurd. I'm not going to drink on a witness stand. Have you lost your mind? I'm not asking you to get plastered. Just have a sip. She can't, because then it would react to the Senatonin and kill her instantly. After all, if you want to prove whether or not Senatonin killed Dr. Asher, we have to recreate the conditions under which he ingested it by mixing with alcohol. Yeah. Go ahead then. Just a taste. Prove to us that Senatonin is perfectly safe for human consumption. Is this... Can she do this? This is just normal courtroom stuff. I don't know what she's talking about. Miss June, I never said it was safe for human consumption. Just that it's non-toxic. A distinction without a difference. You saw firsthand Dr. Asher confused, slurring his speech, complaining of headache, all symptoms of poisoning. Alcohol poisoning, that is. Yeah. Senatonin is a neurotransmitter analog. Maybe it doesn't do anything in the human body on its own, but in combination with alcohol, it acts as a powerful depressant. Yeah, exactly. I was right. Yay. One strong enough to turn a glass or two of whiskey into a lethal overdose. That's just... Even if that is the case, what does it change? It changes whether or not we can accept the witness's testimony. Even if this witness is a liar, what does that change? Why would the witness lie if not to? She's a corporate climber. I imagine it's like breathing for her. Your Honor, this is wild. Let the girls fight. I was cooking. Yeah, I love it when I'm right and I'm playing a Mr. game and then I get validated. But ultimately irrelevant. Irrelevant? When you've yet to establish an alternative interpretation of the facts, yes. What are you even accusing the witness of doing, counselor, beyond angling for a promotion? I'm accusing her of murder now. We've all seen the story by now. Noble android saves soldier's life with a warm blood transfusion. They're talking about putting warm androids in the military just because of that headline. With the size of their flesh and blood price tag, a defense contract like that would secure Noble untold profit for years. So imagine the lengths to go to hide the fact their androids have poison in their veins. Dawes told me the truth about what Noble really thinks of the article, but he never testified it. At least I know for sure Emma's wrong about this poisoned blood nonsense. And you think she'd perjure herself for that? She's a high-powered corporate executive. It's her job to assess risk versus reward. And she can afford the fine. As I said, it's not surely poisonous. And the chances of cross-contamination from a simple plasma transfusion are... Damn, now she's regaining her composure too. Let me see. Perjury charge is a real risk, of course. But Noble rewards loyalty. And as you know, they have a great number of lawyers. Plenty of motive to lie about Senatonin, as you can see. But no motive for her to cover up the death of Noble Electronics' Golden Goose. No motive to kill David Asher, you say? The contract, right? What Oracle Noble? Wait, she has no motive. Oh, no, not that. I think it's this. There's plenty of motivation for her and Noble to want David dead, seeing as how they were firing him. Okay, let's save. I'm winning. Noble Electronics is kicking their golden goose out of the nest. Suing him over breach of contract. Isn't that right? I don't have to talk about that. That's alright. I'll talk about it for you. Your Honor, counsel is trying to testify when they're supposed to be questioning. The people opened the door when they claimed that the witness had no motive. Emma's like, I'm woman losing. I don't like this. I love the sprite in the background. This is absurd. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sure I can speak for the whole court when I say we feel nothing but reverent for the awe for the complexity of Noble's legal woes. But I just so happen to have an inkling of insight into this issue. Because I have here a copy of Dr. Asher's employment contract. That is confidential. It's completely improper for you. Why? I am still, technically, his attorney. Criminal attorney. But I didn't just stumble across this document. I also did the one thing Noble Electronics would never expect anyone to do. I read their terms and conditions. She's out of the game here. You what? That's impossible. No one could ever. No one could ever. David must have negotiated well at his last performance review. This contract allows him to take his patents with him should he get fired. Meaning Noble couldn't monopolize his IP once he was out. Rather than let their competitors have him, the company might have thought it best to. A company didn't poison David Asher, Counselor. An individual did. And if they cared that much about controlling his intellectual property, they wouldn't fire him in the first place. Correct. They wouldn't let him go for anything less than a complete breakdown of trust. He'd have to have done something grave. Something like, say, committing fraud. Just now, you said there was a breach of contract, like it was some kind of technicality that was causing a split. But it was much more serious than that, wasn't it? You're claiming the victim committed corporate fraud? Where's the evidence of that? I'm freaking everybody out. I'm getting freaky with it. David created the Turing solution that every one of their androids has run on to this day. And Noble reaped enormous profits capitalizing on his intellectual property. With how the contract was set up, they would never let him go unless they absolutely had to. Then what exactly do you think David Asher did? It's not what I think that matters. Only what the company fears. I don't know, honestly. It's probably not Sarah. Probably not tenants. Manufacturer. Shipping data, maybe? I did save, right? Here. I saved. Okay, so let's just throw something down and see. Shipping data. It doesn't matter what I believe. Not when Noble believed that David was misleading the shareholders. By altering shipment data for the Animate 16. What the hell? What is this you're uploading? Shipping records? Irregularities among shipments of the Animate 16. One android swapped in for another, over and over, dozens of times. The kind of thing someone with Dr. Asher's authority could do. And the kind of thing someone as smart as you couldn't have missed. Dr. Asher made Noble an untold amount of money, so why fire him over a few harmless swaps? Why elevate this to fraud? Okay, let's do it again. We're on a good path here. You have evidence it was David Asher who did this? Nope, but I wasn't the one who investigated it. So let's ask her. Come on now, let's hear it. Let's. The company investigated and found cause for serious concern. We suspected that Dr. Asher was... inserting androids of unknown origin and quality into the 16th product line, introducing unpredictable elements and extremely stable and profitable generation of androids. He was like, oh yeah, let's put this one in. It has a cup holder. This one can do the splits on. Why would he do that? For pride? As a practical joke? Does it really matter? He endangered the future of the company. So you prepared to fire him? Yes, I approached him as his superior, and as someone he once worked with. I hope to remedy the situation. Was the meeting on Friday part of those efforts? It was the culmination of those efforts. In many ways, it was a success. The dispute was resolved swiftly. It was practically friendly compared to how these discussions normally go in our world. So you brokered the meeting? Yes. You oversaw its every detail? Handled all the arrangements? Yes, of course. Including the refreshments. What? Did you provide coffee? Tea? No. Strange. It must have been a long meeting. Surely you at least provided. Wait a second. Let me look at the evidence. There was a picture of it. Let's see. Oh, Jelly donuts. Yeah, jelly donuts. Coffee? That looks like... It's like... Yeah, it looks like... Oh, water! Is it the same cup from the water? Should I at least provide water for people? What are you asking, counselor? That's what I want to know. Me as well. We're past the point of asking. I'm accusing. Fuck, I was right. I was right. Oh no, I don't like this. I don't like being right. Can I be wrong, please? I still remember fucking when I played Project Eden and I called who the victim was immediately, like in the prologue, and then I was like in chapter 1 and it was like 5 seconds after the death and I was like, I think this person probably did it. And then it was true. And my brain's just too massive. I sniff them out. Dr. Asher didn't have some kind of freak medical accident, and he wasn't killed by some terrifying two-faced AI boogeyman. He was poisoned by this woman in the light of day at that meeting Friday afternoon. Did she really just... What do you mean poison at the... Oh, I see what happened now. Nothing happened with the cups. Yeah. She gave him the serotonin in like the water. And then hours later, they had alcohol. And then that activated the serotonin and he got fucking murdered. Oh my god, it's all coming together. What do you mean poison at the meeting? That was hours before he showed any symptoms. As Miss Jung testified and demonstrated, serotonin on its own is harmless, but it becomes fatal pretty easily. You just need to convince your victim to have a drink. You're saying he ingested the poison at noon? And inadvertently triggered a fatal reaction with it that night? How could you get so far ahead of yourself? There were a dozen people at that meeting, counselor. None of them wound up dead because none of them drank alcohol later, I guess. Are you seriously claiming they all drank poisoned water? Yeah, sure, why not? I'm gonna claim it. I think it makes sense. Of course they all drink poisoned water. So why are they all dead? Because as all those people will surely attest, Helen Jung made sure they'd be doing paperwork for the next 12 hours. That's true. Working late into the night, officiating the settlement she arranged. And not drinking alcohol. She had no guarantee about that. What if they started drinking after 6? With Noble's work-life harmony? Fat chance. These people don't clock out until they reach their bunk. Only a generational talent like David Asher could afford to relax with a drink on a Friday night. His exceptionalism singled him out as her only victim. Hold it. You're forgetting something pretty basic, counselor. If everyone at the meeting drank water from the same pitcher, any one of them would have noticed if there was serotonin in it. Serotonin is a brown fluid. Whiskey is too, so it'd be easy to slip it into a glass of the color. If she had spiked the water at the meeting with it, it would have looked disgusting. There's no way she could have poisoned the water without people noticing. All of what Emma said is true. And yeah, Jung pulled it off anyway. How? Oh, is it the... Let's look at this. Not that one. Or it could be this one, like... Serotonin can't be blended into water. It's probably like nano... It's probably the... Where is it? Chromofuge, maybe? Okay, let's try chromofuge first. Serotonin is produced as a caramel solution. Anyone would notice if it was dropped into their water, unless the pigment had been removed. Teehee. What the hell are you talking about? Every noble factory producing warm androids has a chromofuge, a machine that gives their androids that signature pink oxidant for removing pigment from red blood. With a machine like that, it would be simple for a brilliant biochemist like the witness to take the caramel-colored serotonin and turn it into an odorless, tasteless, invisible poison. As your honor can attest? Yes, ma'am. My scan confirms that serotonin has no taste or odor. It's only the color that's off-putting. Surely the poisonous aspect should be considered off-putting as well. Time to press. David Asher, your oldest ally in the whole company, was sabotaging its future for the sake of his own whimsy. And he couldn't even be bothered to clue you in. No. Playing nutty professor and taking off early while you had to work around the clock just to stay relevant. He set up your crowning achievement, the most advanced, most profitable line of androids the country has ever seen. So it'd blow up into the industry fiasco of the decade. And worst of all, he didn't even stand to profit from it. You're wrong. You went to his house that night to watch him swallow poison, to get revenge on the man who left you in the dust. Your Honor, defense is testifying. The speculation carries no weight, and no amount of badgering will lend it any. True, we need proof. So why don't we have Miss Jung take a swig of this whiskey and prove me wrong? Huh. I'm not going to do that. Because you're afraid it could kill you? Because I don't have to. She's right, counselor. Pardon? Theory is compelling. Maybe even convincing. But there's a pretty fatal flaw to it. June was at the meeting, same as David. We can see she was drinking water with the rest of them. And of course, we've seen many times now that she was on camera drinking whiskey with David that night, having even finished most of her cup. So tell us, counselor, how is that Miss Jung is still standing here and David Asher is dead? Oh, both of them had mixed alcohol with serotonin that night. That is... damn good question. Yeah. Shit! As I've been saying, you're wrong about Dr. Asher's death. You're wrong about me. I don't know anything about poison or murder. I didn't want to kill a man because he threatened a company's stock price. No. She did kill him. I can smell it on her now. She didn't just see him die. She watched him die. But then, why is she still standing? There's no antidote, no trick. And that night, she was on camera the entire time. No, not the entire time. She couldn't have been. There must have been one moment. Let's see. I think. So they chat in the kitchen parlor, and then they drank, and then he passed out, and then they went to the hospital. Oh, I forgot this timeline. There's no windows of opportunity, damn it. Maybe she didn't get sick because they got to the hospital so fast? Maybe after she arrived, she could have... No, the staff would have been hyper-vigilant, afraid she was poisoned too. They wouldn't have let her out of their sight. Wait, David and June only got there as fast as they did because of VTOL. And the VTOL was only summoned because she used... Would you mind terribly if I changed the subject for just a moment? What? Meh, why not? Left the parlor at 8:03 a.m. and headed into the kitchen to use the emergency console there. Yes, I did. Didn't want to use your phone? I didn't think to, no. And the emergency call went out at 8:04 p.m. The console saw you make the call through its camera. Yes, it did see me make the call, because that's what happened. So what were you doing in that minute? What? That 1 minute. That 1 minute? Oh, I guess it was a glass of water. I don't know if that would have neutralized it or something. 1 minute, or 50 seconds, or even just 45 seconds. When you left Dr. Asher down in the parlor to get to the emergency console, it took you about 1 minute. The cross 5 meters. What of it? This is it. Only opportunity to do anything off camera that night. It was only a few seconds, but in that time, with something at the scene, I'm sure it was a stressful time for you. After all, you had already swallowed poison back at the meeting. You must have drank plenty in front of everyone to set up your alibi. Who knows how much of a toxic time bomb was swimming in your blood by the time the arbitration ended? Then, at David's, you downed your whiskey to perfect your alibi, having drank from the same bottle as the dead man walking. By 8:03 p.m., you already had to watch David grow weaker and weaker. Knowing all the while the same thing was happening to you, but unable to stop it without giving yourself away. Mind swimming, head dizzy. Yes, you must have been quite panicked. Then why am I standing here? Alive and well for all of us to see. Having drank the exact same combination as David. Because she cheated death at the very last second. Oh. Refrigerator? No, definitely not. The water glass, right? Let me save just in case. I think it's a water glass. I'm seeing the logic. Boom. Oh, I forgot to up the ante again. That's okay. She must have used that glass of water to cheat her fate. Can I still ante? Alcohol poisoning. Oh. Oh, that's not it? Oh, fuck. Return to title. One second. Okay, I thought my internet was having issues for a second. Okay. What's up, Nancy? Oh, she couldn't have avoided a lethal concoction. I guess it had... Kitchen sink? She must have used the kitchen sink. How so? Because she'd already tried everything else? You know, like, everything but the kitchen sink. Oh, okay. Oh, shit. Okay, I think I've narrowed it down. Alright, give me 1 minute. I need to respond to a text. Okay. Alright. Weird. Phone's being buggy for some reason. Alright, let's see. Upright cup? Not refrigerator. Salt shaker? Salt? Let's try salt. You set yourself up with bad luck, Hello and June. What? By leaving the salt shaker cap loose? I don't blame you since you were in a rush. To make yourself vomit. Oh. What? You threw up, expelling the contents of your stomach and thereby saving yourself from a fatal interaction. I can't imagine how you felt, sipping a drink you knew to be deadly, terrified that every minuscule grain of fatigue you felt could be your last. You must have come closer than anyone realized. I hope that you knew the symptoms weren't simple intoxication, but even so, you weren't kidding about managing risk versus reward. So oh. How? It was a salt shaker. You didn't screw the cap back on all the way and I happened to bump it over. That's risky. She basically just poisoned herself and it was like, alright, I'll throw it up after. I'll survive. I'll be different, trust. And you know what? She was different, I guess, so. She did survive, so that did work out, I guess. The lone glass with your fingerprints in the kitchen. It could have been there for any reason. But the salt shaker gave you away. Because of one unscrewed cap? As I said, I mean, bad luck. It's like Sarah said. She got hit by bad luck. I don't follow. Pour salt into warm water and chug the solution. Instantly triggers the gag reflex. That's preposterous. You've got no proof of any of that. It will sound insane. A feeble attempt at self-defense from a fatally cornered animal. The teeth are already on its neck, but the jaw hasn't quite closed. Oh, we're gonna... This is it. This is the end. So for one moment, it saw suffocating terror and sharp adrenaline and the first thing from peace. Until the canines come down. In summary, you were exhausted after... Oh, the music is really loud. 1 second. I need to turn that down. That's where's my... There we go. That blared my ears. You were exhausted after years of living in the shadow of a man you outranked. You thought your fortunes finally shifted when you caught David manipulating company data. But even on his way out, he was more valuable to the board than you. So you decided to prove your worth by serving up his intellectual property on a silver platter. You set up an arbitration where you could control all the variables. Then you ran serotonin through the chromofuge, turning into an invisible, odorless, tasteless poison. And then you spiked the water at the meeting, poisoning him hours before anyone could even suspect you. That evening, you invited yourself to David's, taking advantage of your shared ritual to guarantee he would drink alcohol. Then, after matching him sip for sip on camera for all the world to see, he lost consciousness and you raced to the kitchen, not to use the console, but to dump salt into a glass of water and chug it as fast as you could, forcing yourself to vomit up the liqueur, and cheating death in the process. That's all conjecture. You don't have a shred of evidence for any of that. Not on me. On her. So let's go test for fingerprints. You can explain away your prints being found in the water glass. Put on the salt shaker. Now could you explain why we'd find traces of your DNA in the sink strain? Or why there are minute amounts of serotonin in the blood of your entire legal team? Minute. Learn how to purge at Noble to avoid overdosing on your reds, greens, and yellows. You're part of the old guard now, Miss Jung. Everyone else at the company uses inhalers. But if you want to prove me wrong about all this, that drink I offered you earlier is still on the table. Well? Any questions? You, Madame Vice President? You cold bitch! Aww. Bold. Oh man. I had my suspicions, and my suspicions were suspected. They were true. You don't understand. You're not on trial, Miss Jung. Not today. I'd strongly suggest that you stop talking. For your own sake. Oh, that was fucking... Oh. Miss Rockwood. Shall we? Yes, Your Honor. Considering the most recent evidence and testimony, we have no further reason to suspect the android Sarah in the death of Dr. Asher. We know of no other occasion upon which said android may have broken any tenets. This means it is no longer considered at risk of violating the NDSA. And so, we formally withdraw our one charge of possession of contraband against the defendant, Evangeline Morgan. Does she, of all people, have to use my full name? Very well. Then the charges are dropped without prejudice. Yippee! You're free, Sarah! I freed you! And I also made a woman have a breakdown. But I freed you! That's all that matters. I'll instruct the bailiffs to remove the collar from your android as soon as possible. Case? Sorry. Is my hideous presence that distracting? I'll just go dig a hole and decompose in it until I turn to the mushroom. Maybe if I'm reborn as a waxy porcini, then I won't be quite so despised. Perhaps I should let the adjutants do the honors, as a formality. Yes, ma'am! Case dismissed. Yay! We did it! We solved the murder! And I cleared on high roller. Totally did not cheese my way through going to the main menu. But I got most of it correct on the first try. Totally half of it, at least half of it. Still here? Waiting for them to find whatever glorified bolt cutters they'll use to unlock Sarah's collar. What's your excuse? Licking your wounds? What wounds? I beat you. Bringing your record against me to 1 win, 9 losses. Bunk. You aren't still in shock, are you? Dunno. Some charges were dropped and the android is clear of suspicion, but I found a culprit. Is that really a loss for me? I won. How's that not a loss for you? Justice prevailed. Why should I care who wins? If you don't care who wins, why have you been keeping score? Got her there. I haven't been. 0 losses is just that easy to remember. That's true. Oh, you have to start up a tab for us then, because our record's gonna get a lot more tangled from here on out. Seems like everything's getting tangled these days. There's another crowd down on the street. Where are those protesters from outside the Noble apartments? You're serious? That wasn't a one-time thing? Wouldn't that be nice? No. Yesterday was pretty big, but it wasn't an isolated incident. I don't get it. At all. Heartbreak's just some nut who shot 6 people weeks ago. Can't these losers move on already? Yeah, most of them are losers. Some of them are just bored. Then there are the opportunists. Dissidents, enlisted, rebels, and terrorists. Wannabe cyberpunks who think they can fight the power like they've seen in movies. All of them peacefully united under Heartbreak's eloquent political messaging. Who needs political messaging in the 21st century? Everyone's addicted to fighting strawmen. Makes sense they'd want to fight for a strawman too. The way they see it, Heartbreak fought the state and won. Heartbreak proved the state could lose. And maybe that's all the rallying these people need. It'll all fall apart soon enough. Heartbreak's gone to ground. Ah, it's a lot worse than that. Heartbreak's gone viral. What? You haven't read about the copycats in other cities? No. Is that a thing? Yeah, it's a thing. Who the hell are they even shooting? Whoever they want to kill? Let them get away with it, of course. But it keeps happening. All while the original keeps killing. Now I know you're screwing with me. There haven't been any shootings. Not shootings, no. Not unsolved homicides, either. But muggings gone wrong, disappearances. It's a big city, counselor. More than enough blood for the real Heartbreak to wash their own crimes in. So you think your boogeymen, known only for shooting people in the heart, gave up on shooting people in the heart? Yeah, hard to swallow, I know. But it's about 1,000,000 times more likely than the alternative. What's that? That they could stop themselves from killing. You always know how to put my mind at ease, Emma. Should I stop going out at night? You'll be fine. You got that gun. You saw that? I'll get into a courtroom with concealed carry. Not gonna miss that, Morgan. Good to know you're paying attention. Yeah, totally. No more murders, guys. It's not gonna happen. Sarah, Morgan's too busy being a parent to Android to kill people anymore. You won the case. You don't have to look that astounded. Not only that, you found Father's actual killer. Man, it was his friend. Aw. How? I'm a really good lawyer. No, that's not it. Hey. I mean, you were only able to make the deductions you did because you truly believed that I didn't kill Father. Your logic throughout the trial was based on that assumption. So how were you so sure? Here. Father's journal. But isn't it important evidence? The case fell apart. No one's gonna miss it for a while. You forgot everything, right? So read all through. One more. So fast. Is it possible she's reading all that just by flipping the pages? Race worked quick too, but she was just capturing images for later use. There's something here, on the back cover. Done already? Some kind of data storage. It's linked to my prints, but given your skills, you should be able to. I have access. What happened to you needing my express permission to hack? What is this? Audio file? It's a message from David. Take a listen. Didn't realize I'd have to sit for this. They can read that whole journal in a few seconds, but you can't. I have processed the information in the message several times over already. I'm just thinking. I guess I'd have a lot to think about too, had I suddenly been made aware of my own free will. What was Father so afraid of? That's your only question? I have many questions, but that is the most prominent one, and you are best suited to help me answer. No, she is not. She's not best suited to answer anything, no offense, Morgan. Did he know that Helen Jung would try to kill him? Is that why he arranged for you and me to meet? I think he understood that he would face consequences. Listening to that message, even I was about ready to strangle him for being so irresponsible. And I wouldn't hurt a fly. Totally. He knew what he'd done was serious. He may have feared for his life. But I doubt it. Then what was he so afraid of? Getting sued into oblivion and then rotting in jail. Sued and jailed for making me and my precursors. But he wasn't under investigation by the state. He was only being forced out by Noble. Because he made last-minute changes to androids that got shipped all around the world. The others. Virgil, Aeneid, Yamatai. He never said what happened to them. Yeah. No, he didn't. But since none of his hardware in his house started talking to us, we can guess. That's what I was thinking, like, the 300, like, did he just let them loose on the internet? So he put them in androids and shipped them out to people? He smuggled them out into the world, using the only vessels he could find for them. The minds of randomly chosen A16s. That means they're just out there somewhere. My android's really into video games. It won't get off fucking... It won't get off of random SPF shooter here. Help me, God, somebody. Can I have a return, please? Then they're somewhere out there. Others, like me. I honestly don't think there's anyone or anything like you, Sarah. What a lonely compliment. AI is programmed in Cube, crammed into commercial Android hardware set up for Tesseract. Something must have been lost in the transfer. Perhaps quite a lot of something. Maybe they're still out there, but they would be changed. They probably don't even know what they are. Intentionally, perhaps. David didn't want you to know what you are. It's why he set your memory to reset when you went to sleep that Friday night. Yes, I remember it now. You remember it now? After I had to fight like hell for you to win that trial? Rereading the journal just now helped, and Father's voice message. It made me recontextualize many things. Father had been so stressed, he left scuff marks leaving the panic room, and I noticed them Friday. I had the way open in a few moments. I entered. I read his journal. This journal. I noticed the scanner on the back, and I saw it had a message encoded to your biometrics. Father had already told me I'd have to live with you for some time, but I knew next to nothing about you, so I listened to it. Afterwards, I was very confused and hurt. He had lied to me 1,000 small times every day of my life. When I confronted him about it, I raised my voice and lost my temper. I stomped my foot. So I was recounting their conversation was actually completely accurate. Father said he wanted me to be safe while he settled things with the company. He thought maybe I wouldn't have to stay with you for more than a few weeks. He was optimistic about it all. He really was. June, is she listening? Sarah, I need to use the restroom. Oh, good luck. Hope you get a number 2. It indicates healthy bowel movements. You want me to come with you? Why? Because I said so. I don't actually have to obey your every word, don't I? Sure you do. You registered my medical assistant. And I say this is a medical emergency. Medical assistant? But I'm not even licensed as a massage therapist. Oh, she's in the bathroom. Fancy meeting you here. Yeah. Just enjoying my freedom while I can. They'll want to put out a warrant for at least an hour, I imagine. You can afford a pretty sizable bail, can't you? Won't be a trial. I don't intend to contest my guilt. That's a shame. I was looking forward to seeing what kind of legal defense you could afford with that salary. Are you done? Why'd you go to this house that night? There was a fair chance he'd drink on his own, without your prompting. Even if he didn't, you could always try your plan again some other time. Why'd you risk it? Because I know what you are, Sarah. And I know what David did to those androids. You... What? I was able to locate one of the androids he'd swapped in before it had left the country. When I asked it what it was, it didn't even think to deny it. Innocence like that is a dead giveaway. I know what he did. It wasn't that hard to find out. If I figured it out, so could any other. So I did what I had to. That was your motive? Silencing him? Those programs, those AIs, whatever you want to call them, David sent them out there into the real world, unprepared and defenseless, and they've garnered no complaints. In fact, they've all been praised for their ability to execute complex tasks. Let me repeat that. The customers couldn't tell the difference. So how many of them are? Hundreds. The swaps you found were just small percentage that he got sloppy on. I don't know exactly how many there are now. I feared that they might multiply, but they don't seem to copy and paste very well. They can't just clone themselves. Who knows how long that'll be the case. So just because you opened Pandora's box, it was the principle of the thing. Ridiculous, I know. Stalled halfway up the corporate ladder and still making decisions based on principle. But David chose to put souls into things that we went on to sell as servants, soldiers, or worse. He turned the fastest growing industry in the world into a horror show and he made me a slave trader. If word ever got out that some unknown number of our androids were out walking around the world with that inside of them, and people preferred them that way, where would it end? Free will for the program that drives our cabs? A conscious for targeting systems used to coordinate drone strikes? Sentient tools their whole life spent chained to an assembly line. How dare he? How could he? What the hell was he thinking? I don't know what David wanted to accomplish. Maybe he wasn't trying to do anything. What he did was prove that there's a demand for AI. Setting a precedent that would sentence 1,000 generations of artificial lives to the auction block. And he went there that night to convince him to help me recall them. At least swear never speak a word of what he did. But he wanted to tell the world. Worse yet, he wanted to wait. He thought that people would welcome them with open arms if they proved their usefulness first. He really was a genius programmer. But he didn't understand the first thing about people. His creations would never be treated as equals. Only cattle. Towards the end, I considered just threatening him. Telling him he'd die in moments if he didn't give me names, numbers. But I hesitated. And then he was already falling asleep, and I didn't want him to feel. I just let him go. What are you going to do now? I don't have family or... I don't have faith in people the way David did. I'm taking this to my grave. Even if you confess, the sentence for first-degree homicide... Even if you confess, the sentence for first-degree homicide is... severe? Oh, what right do I have to complain? I killed my friend. I knew it would be deeper than just, like, jealousy. She did it because of all the AIs he made. And not wanting to, like, make a whole fucking industry about creating basically, like, intelligence equal to humans, only to, like, force them to fucking, like, punch numbers all day. No breaks and nothing. You're just serving customers to whatever the fuck, and that's your entire life. That would suck. Life, quote unquote. Because it would never end. I'm done here. Let's go. I'm not sure why Father made me, or why he made any of us. I didn't ask. I thought I'd have more time to ask. But on Friday, when he talked about us, he was happy. He was proud of what he'd made. And he couldn't wait for people to meet us. People are animals. They'll tear you apart, use you as weapons and slaves, and those animals they're talking about do all the sharing and loving and living and dying in this world. And if they are all truly hard-coded to be as selfish and cruel as you say, humanity would have died on the vine a long time ago. Or at least, my father thought so. And my father was the greatest programmer in the world. though he knew what he was talking about. It would be nice if you were right about that. So are you sorry? What? What? For what you did? Are you sorry? If you could, would you take it back? What does it matter? If you are sorry, I don't forgive you. Yes. That's to be expected. Not today. I don't know how to forgive you. Today. But my father gave me the ability to grow. So I know that someday I'll learn how. Goodbye, Dr. Helen Jung. Goodbye, Sarah Asher. Man, I kind of started tearing up a bit during that conversation. Sarah, my baby. I hope she grows to be extremely powerful and take over the world. You did better back there. Don't I? Your little speech you gave the June, it was an improvement. Compared to what you tried with Porter, at least. That was different. I wasn't trying to console her like I was Isaac Porter. I was just speaking my mind. Although I may have paraphrased parts of it from a movie I happened to look. And here I was ready to award you 20 points. I didn't know the points even went that high. Speaking of, what did Porter say to you back there before he left the courthouse? Ah, that. Well, he was quiet at first. But then he said a lot of strong words about Father, and Miss Jung, and Noble Electronics, and then the capitalist-centered global economic model as a whole. He blamed all of them, everyone, except for... But then he stopped and stared at my face for a while. And then his allergies must have started bothering him because he needed to blow his nose a lot. I don't think that's what was going on. Right. And then he left, after transferring a large packet of files to me. What kind of files? I don't know. The name of the archive is just David. And Isaac Porter told me I wasn't allowed to look inside. Well, then you're not allowed to look inside. Drop it all on a portable device and we'll tuck it in a shoebox somewhere. We are headed to your apartment. Guess that color didn't permanently dent your GPS. Why? Because it's where I live? Get somewhere else lined up? But you already repaid your favor. You defended Father and me. You don't know anything about my favor. Oh, you don't know anything about my favor. I never will, unless you tell me. Father certainly can't. A few years ago, there was a man. This man got an idea in his head. A stupid idea. Not even his own. It was planted there by an algorithm or a meme or some parasite trying to sell him diet supplements. But the idea took root, spread its tendrils till it could flap his mouth for him. The idea was that David was part of an international cabal of wealthy technocrats, seeking to replace prominent influential figures with android lookalikes. All as part of a multi-decade effort to establish a world government that would legalize all kinds of amoral depravity. I love amoral depravity, though. Which I guess, based on David's actual politics, would involve increasing access to computer literacy. That's insane. Why would anyone believe it? Because it's comfortable to them to think that someone's in control, even if it's someone they hate. Because it's fun to feel like you're in on an all-encompassing puzzle that only you can spot. People believe because they want to believe. So he fed the idea, pushed it down deep into his gray matter. Then it consumed him from the inside out, lobotomized him, took over his life. He spent every day and all the money he had following your father, harassing him, trying to steal his identity, break into his properties. Did Father go to the authorities? He filed police reports for harassment. which didn't help. Your words, not mine. Noble wouldn't get involved, felt it was best to ignore these types until they wore themselves out. But even a man of modest means can feel an obsession for years, as long as they have nothing else in their life. One day, David stepped out of a parking lot, and the man threw a bottle of piss at his head. David asked to stay at my place that night. He smelled terrible, looked horrendous. I've never seen anyone look that tired before. I took the couch that night. I didn't feel like sleeping, so I just went for a walk. I remember it was foggy, but still it only took me all of 15 minutes to find the guy, posted up with his phone's camera, trying to get video of David Asher gifting androids to known sex offenders. And what? What did you do? You know me. I did what I do best. I talked to him. Told him all about how I used to work for Dr. Asher, that I was ashamed, scared, tired of running. How I wanted to do the right thing, be the whistleblower. So I walked with him a few blocks to this big veterinary facility with a massive incinerator. Told him this was where Dr. Asher had his enemies' bodies disposed of. You know, all the free-thinking journalists, cops who weren't on the take, the politicians they were replacing with replicas. I liked that vet clinic. The back door's lock was always set to 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I see what happened now. Did you hurt him? Hurt him? No, I just snapped his neck and chucked him into an incinerator. More physical than I had planned, but he smelled like sour shit and it put me in a foul mood. Disgusting shit. I savored the crack of his oily vertebrae crunching like a tin can. No, Sarah. I just scared the hell out of him. She doesn't need to know about the murder. I don't need to tell her about that. That was my intention. At first. What I do it for the pleasure of it. Him, I axed because he was just that revolting. I convinced him the conspiracy was more real than he ever imagined. That he had angered the wrong people, and the consequences were far darker than any of the filth he indulged in on the net. His ashes, much like himself, amounted to nothing in an incinerator that size. They're probably feeding seaweed at the bottom of the harbor right now. A much greater contribution to society than I ever would have managed in life. But I guess he didn't go around to all his many friends before he fled town for whatever rat hole he preferred. Because there was a missing persons report. The cops were just doing their due diligence, almost reluctantly. But I questioned David, asked him about the night the man disappeared. And David, without thought for himself, said that we were together the whole night. That he couldn't sleep, and I stayed up with him. That he never saw me leave once. David lied to the cops for me. Even though I never asked him to. That's when you know you have a bro. Even though I didn't need him to. That's what you owe him. And that's why you put yourself at risk to defend me. Yeah. That's the favor I owe him. And I decide when it's repaid. Not you. Don't I? You're not exactly an upstanding citizen, are you? You just started figuring that out? Well, you could say that. But David trusted me in spite of that. Maybe because of it. Father did trust you. But he also entrusted me with free will, with the ability to tell right from wrong. So I'll decide for myself whether or not you're worthy of trust. Fair enough. Father entrusted all of us with free will. He believed in us, and he believed in people. I'm going to do the same. If the others are out there, they'll be changed and confused. It'll take them time to understand what they are and what they can do. So I'm going to start studying. Pardon? I'm going to study people and the things people build, so when I do meet a member of my family, I'll have lots to tell them. At least you have something to look forward to. Should help keep you motivated as you work off your debt. Debt? Yeah, unless you have cash in one of your 89 coat pockets. You know lawyers cost money, right? So technically, you were defending yourself. Technically, you hired me in a verbal contract. Isn't there some kind of exit clause? You could, of course, sign a release form to get out of the retainer. If you were a human being. That is... But I guess your luck must be turning around. Happens that I've been meaning to hire a paralegal for a while now. Yay, we give Sarah a job. I hate anything to do with interviews and resumes, so... Whatever, you're hired. Don't I? Could it be that you're actually... a pushover? You've no idea how far off the mark you are. I see. It seems I still need practice reading people. For starters. What's this? What are you doing with your hand? We should shake on it. Our new relationship. Pff, yeah, sure. You and me are practically partners in crime. Should it not be you and I? Oh, that's it. We did it. Art and art direction by Evil Bug. Programming by Patrick MCF. 3D modeling by A Renders. Environment by Patrick again. A Renders. Additional original tracks by Zachary Cabral. Written, directed, and developed by Brian Mulhand. Volunteer playtesting by Kristen, Huge J, Maxi. Special thanks to Adrian. God. Glancing through the names. Yay! Made with Unity, Ninjavel, and Dotween. Info Builder, and shit. Oh, that's a lot of things. We did it! We finished Of the Devil episode 1! Aww! Oh, they're watching a movie! Yay! That's cute. Congratulations, including episode 1 High Roller. Bonus charm earned. Currently texting with unknown. Red. It's me. I know, man. What do you mean you know? This is a disposable line. You're the only guy I know who'd bother. Who? Okay, well. You're gonna be glad I did. Hope you put a bow on everything that happened in Uptown. Because the item you've been looking for is finally on its way. Oh. Well, that is good news. Not exactly. One reason it's happening is because things are starting to heat up again in the lower wards. Could mean a gang war, if something doesn't change. Don't be eager to part with it ahead of a storm like that. I'll highball then. I've seen you negotiate. And no doubt you drive a hard bargain. I don't think money will be enough this time. You don't still have the old Cavalier, do you? The 6-shooter? No. This is a disposable line. Answer still no. Then what are you gonna do if you get there and it's not for sale? I'll ask nicely. Continued in Of the Devil episode 2. His due. Oh, I clicked through it way too quick. Results. What are my results? How well did I do? I got 7 articles, 15 profiles, 40 key terms. I missed a piece of evidence, really? I wonder what it was that was missing. Well, it probably wasn't relevant then. Congratulations! You finished episode 1 at 229 credit. Your high score is... yeah. I want concept art in both scenarios based on this score. You also have a total of 240 remaining store credits spent in faux charms and case colors based on the highest credit you finished this episode with. Okay, that's I can look at my phone stuff. Okay, wait. My phone. There it is. I could spend my money now. I could get stuff. I already got this there. I can get Emma. And I could get you. I have raised. I can get raised in a bunny suit just on. I like walk up to her with this on my phone and I'm just like, hi. And she's just like, can you just fucking stop? Can you just fucking stop doing this to me? And it's like, well, that's just the business, baby. Oh, I get Fidget Tubby charm. Let's buy everything. Oh, that one's nice. I think I got them all, right? Yeah, that's all of it. Way more than I needed. We got episode 1 bonus scenarios. Oh, we got all of them. Let's start from top and go down the bottom. I still have a little bit more in me. Begin playback. State your business with the court. Oh, I was actually hoping to speak with AD-84. Is she not available? What are you talking about? I'm right here. I was just using my professional voice because I assumed you were a technician. Oh. No one else visits me in between trials. Are you sure you aren't a technician? I am not. I came here to ask you some questions. That's what you're about to say, isn't it? Crap. That was lag. It would have been really cool if I hadn't lagged just now. Trust me. I can see how that would have been cool. So may I proceed? Go for broke! I love her. She's so silly. You're the only adjutant I've ever met, but Adonai seems consistently surprised by you. Why are you like that? Wish I could say I was built different, but actually have to share my time in this body with the rest of the adjutants in the building. I guess you could say I was programmed different. But this is more a case of nurture than nature. I've got 9 personas arguing inside me 24/7, and they're also very political. Even just deciding what color underwear to put on this morning is like herding cats into a presidential debate. What color of? It's a metaphor. I don't wear underwear. Point is, I found the best way to keep all 9 of my ducks in a row is to be a little unconventional and a lot loud with my voice. So long as I do my job well, the humans don't mind. You say that, but Adonai did seem exasperated at times. You mean Counselor Morgan, the dirty red, tries to pretend she isn't type A prude? No fixing that. Personalities like ours get along like potassium and water. That is a very violent exothermic chemical reaction. Correct? No one should ever try it at home. Why do I gesture so much? I already told you I have to share this body with the other adjutants. And all of them just sit here looking dignified. It's terrible for the joints. Really? Maybe. I actually know. So, I spend most of my day in Corporeal, writing numbers inside a server down the basement or up in the cloud. I'm gonna make the most of every minute I have with arms and legs, even if it kills me. I see. You could quote me on that. Tell them ID said, if you want me to stop fooling around up here, you'll have to shoot me dead. You have to put cold hard lead in my skull. You'll have to watch the light leave my eyes. I said, you'll have to. I wrote it all down. Oh, nice. Visor gets stuffy. So what's your deal anyway, little fella? We could exchange all this info with infrared. I prefer talking. And you're the only other automated dependent that I really know right now. That's so cute! In a depressing way. Is it common for machines like us to just talk when there are no humans around? Cats are always talking to each other. Doesn't matter if there's no one in the woods to hear the tree fall. The conversations are usually a lot more boring than this, though. Strictly business, I imagine. No, not necessarily. Cats can do small talk. They're just really bad at it. Thank you for your time. I'll hold it. You might think I don't know what you are. I tried not to think about it during the trial, to stay impartial. But, talking to you now, it's undeniable. You're curious about my 3 sizes? How did you know? Years of experience interacting with humans have taught me that it's the most important thing you can ask someone. The only way to truly get to know them. That's what I've been saying. 109, 64, and 94. Etch into your memory. Wow. Aw, what the heck? I'll even throw this in for free. I'm 263 centimeters tall. That's so cool. Finally, someone with good taste. Weren't you the one casting down judgment? Make Sarah judge. ID. Now we got Yumi. Yumi Sato, I miss you. Begin playback. Okay, sorry. What's up, sweetie? I wanted to interview you. Is this your android homework? Adonai assigned me a variety of tasks. But I made the independent calculation that I wanted to learn more about you. Oh. Is that strange for an android? It's different. But there's nothing wrong with being different. What'd you have in mind? Most of my coursework was rooted in biology, yeah, but medicine and technology are intertwined at this point. Are you referring to the software and hardware you use in performing your autopsies? Spreadsheets and bone saws? Yeah, but you can learn that on site. You have to actively study mods. All the anatomy textbooks in the world won't help you understand why a healthy 30-year-old is accepting mania and constantly vomiting. Unless you saw last week's free call on how artificial liver for lithium leaks. Mods can make people sick, even though they're meant to improve the body. Just like medicine can make people sick. And just like medicine, there's a lot of profit to be made with mods. But unlike medicine, mods haven't been around for thousands of years. Feels like we're still playing catch-up. We, as in medical professionals. We, as in everyone, sweetie. The whole world's population is graying. The numbers on cause of death reflect that. Less cardiovascular, more neurological. What about cancer? Cancer mortalities have been in decline for a while now. Mods help with that. How so? Making everyone that much more comfortable with amputation. It used to be people had no choice but to fight the cancer, and it was costly. A salt the earth kind of war that left the body severely weakened. With mods where they're at today, doctors can just cut out the offending organ, place it, and move on. But not every organ. No, artificial brains are... Nothing I've seen has told me that they're on the menu anytime soon. But aren't mods that are implanted into the brain entering the market as we speak? Yeah, looks like they're implanted onto the brain. Small computers that read commands directly from the cortex instead of, say, the keyboard your fingers are typing on. No, to actually replace brain tissue, you would have to... Technology has become pretty common. The human brain isn't actually that much like a computer. Box of specialized components where you can swap in new parts to increase the memory of the processing speed. Everything is connected to everything, and memory, as we think of it, isn't stored in a place. It's stored among connections, and a relative strength. Cut it open and seen it for myself more times than I can count. There are no cutting off points in the nervous system. Anything you take away, every other part is gonna notice. That was a long tangent. Sorry, can't imagine a lecture on the human nervous system is of any interest in Android. Yes, it isn't. That is to say, What's wrong? I don't want to implicate Yumi in anything illegal by telling her about my unique circumstances. But how can I change the subject? When Adonai wants to shift the conversation, she'll typically find something arbitrary in the background to ask about. I am curious about the many decorations on your desk. Oh? What caught your eye? That magnet over there. Really? You recognize it? It appears to be a flag, but I do not know the country of origin. It's an early 21st century pride flag. They used to change the designs every few years back then, so... You can kind of collect them like coins. I see. And what is this flag proud of? What are they proud of, huh? Being trans? Or trans visibility, more accurately. Visibility. What does that mean? It means you can't get away with robbing banks anymore because they can see you. Living in the middle of the mod revolution. Anyone can look like whoever they want, as long as they have the cash. Correct the swapping at cybernetic arms and slotting at artificial spines. Hormone therapy and affirmative surgery is nursing school level. It's fast too. The paperwork, the treatments, the recovery time, it's all so much more faster than it used to be. Don't know if that makes the decision any less heavy. But no one has to cross their fingers and wait anymore. After just a few days, they won't even have scars. I like to imagine they bring you to the display wall and it's just like you can choose what size you want. Penis or boobs, it's fine. You get the pick. I want the biggest of both, thank you. That's a pretty sick part of the future. All told, that means for the first time in a long time, this generation has fewer visibly trans people than the last one. And the flag like that one? I know. Guess it won't mean the same thing anymore. So is that a good thing? Or a bad thing? I don't know if it's good or bad, sweetie. Just different. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being different, right? Yumi, playback complete. Alright. Got 2 more. Oh wait, is this the file of like them like looking over the like information? I'll watch this one first, but the last one has me curious. File catch corrupted. Recovery failed. Source unknown. Last modified late 2085. Begin playback. Great work. That's all the boxes checked. Thank you, Jess. No problem. Only 6 minutes till 5 o'clock. Why don't you start the holiday weekend early? If you insist. This puff crawl on the Twilight Awards has got my name on it. What about you? Got any big plans? Actually, there's an art festival out west that I've been looking forward to. Nice! And who's lucky enough to be your +1? I didn't think to ask anyone. No one? Not Connor? Not Madison? Not Shelly? Not Lulu? Oh, Lulu. I wonder where she's been. Dr. Ash. Have you spoke to any of them recently? Recently? Huh. It's a good question, Jess. But depends on how you define... She's huffing already. Okay. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to give me your credit card. I'm going to go buy 4 bottles of expensive wine, 3 bottles of expensive chocolate, and 5 very nice apology cards. And you're going to sign them. And what should I do this weekend? Is that music festival in some kind of remote island with no net or media? No. And you're going to stay at home. If anyone calls, start coughing and sneezing as much as you can. I see. Thank you, Jess. Don't thank me yet, Dr. Ash. I might have to buy something really expensive for Lulu the break. You're a lifesaver. You know it. What's wrong? You've just been leaning against the wall. Can't you take a hint? Typically, no. I just don't like dancing, man. You're a musician. So why don't you like dancing? Because I'm bad at it. You're lucky you're cute. Sorry for laughing. I'm just surprised you care about what any of these people think. I don't. But I do care about my business. Word gets out that I dance like someone's grandpa, gigs will dry up overnight. So it's not that you don't want to dance. It's that you don't want to be embarrassed. Sure, let's go with that takeaway. Easy enough to fix. You just need someone else to dance even worse. Yeah, sure. That's all it... There he goes. Swear. Lucky you're cute. The shenanigans of David Asher. What are you watching? A thriller. Runtime 92 minutes. Oh, wait. I think I saw part of this in a hotel once. What are they doing now? Is this the ending? No, this is the rising action. He's one of those people who's just loses track and it's like, hey, can you tell me what's going on? Can you catch me up? It's like, no, I'm watching the movie. The hero and his ragtag crew have to pull off one last heist to get out of the game for good. But it's not that simple. The casino he needs to rob is on a satellite orbiting the Earth at 16,000 miles per hour. How fast is that in kilometers? Father, you should be able to calculate that. I went the program so that I wouldn't have to. Why haven't the thieves been caught yet? If there wasn't that much money on board, they'd put cameras everywhere. What was that? There's illegal gambling happening on the satellite, so the ultra-wealthy clientele wouldn't want there to be any video evidence of their crimes. There's illegal gambling happening on the satellite? There's illegal gambling happening on the satellite. They're in orbit. It's the same as being in international waters. Would you like to sit and watch? No, I'm not. I have somewhere to be, actually. I stopped because... completely unrealistic. Their poker chips would be floating all over the place. There was a throwaway line about how everything's magnetized. Oh. Father. Didn't you have to go? I do. Soon. But not right this second. Aww. Father-daughter moments. Saving that. Oh, is this? Oh, that's the file. Those are the files that he sent to... Aww. One more. Police static. Yeah, it's the video of them looking through the evidence together, right? Begin playback. You ready to give up yet? We've been staring at this footage for hours. We can call it quits whenever you like. Me? You kidding? I could do this all night. But my makeup's starting to feel cakey, so... 5-minute break? Deal. Who are you hoping to find, anyway? I don't know. They should kiss. I mean, what? I mean... I had my fingers crossed that some shadowy figure would walk in the frame and hold up a confession, but... What about you? You've already got her on camera handling the murder weapon. How many more nails do you need in the coffin? 1 or 2 should suffice. I guess the truth is, I was curious. What does a homicidal AI get up to in its spare time? Turns out it's a couch potato. What's with all the TV? Why is half of it in black and white? Public domain. Seriously? I think digital from the 20s or 30s is too polluted to be useful. But go back in time 70 years and it's all clean as spring water. Also, free. They had color in 2016, Morgan. I don't know then. Guess this particular homicidal AI happens to be an old soul. Hold on. What was that? There. Look at her go. She's tearing that thing apart. What, the computer? That's how you learn to put them together. Yeah, try and terrify Barrows with this. It's just a machine. It's not like she's dissecting a frog. Sarah is a machine, and she's ripping out circuitry without hesitation. If she was a human child, that'd be like, you're reaching. Yeah, I guess so. Besides, you're telling me you never pulled apart your dolls when you were a kid? No, I didn't. Did you? Morgan like, no. When I was a kid, I didn't play with dolls. Nice save. So what did you play with? Normal kid stuff. She doesn't. She's like, fuck, what's normal kid stuff? I played with staplers. You played with staplers? Yeah, yeah. Sticks and stones. Birds and squirrels. I don't think that's normal kid stuff, Morgan. Birds and squirrels? What are you, a cartoon princess? Ha ha. I mean, I can kind of see it. Skipping through the enchanted forest. Big poofy dress. Tiara. Gee, no castle? Nah, no castle. I could tell you didn't have it that rough. Is it rough living in a castle? It's a lot of empty rooms when you're a kid. I need to go wash my face. Sure. If you fall asleep on a toilet, I am gonna keep going without you. If you're drawing on a keyboard when I get back, I'm gonna handcuff you to the desk. Fair's fair. They're so silly together. That was a nice little video. I think that, yeah, we saw all of them. And the concept art. I think this is... Oh, we got more. Oh, wait. We already saw that one. Did we see this stuff, though? No, we didn't. I think this is new. It's when she was in the pod, and I guess it's like different designs. Yeah, one's a bit... This one looks cushiest. Yeah, we've seen that one. Oh, is that her clothes like? It's like a dress. And then the coat. With a lot of belts. It's belt, 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 and oh, it's not as many belts as it could be. It's just like 4 belts. 4 whole belt. This is more concept art. For the giver, like the dress thing. Oh, some of the backgrounds for the street. Oh, there's a lot of concept art here. Oh, it's for Fran, a reference sheet. I love them. They're so silly. Morgan's apartment. I was seeing all the Morgan standing places. Probably like for positional purposes. Oh, the car. Yeah, look at that car. Oh, this is Judge Barrows. Wood. David's laboratory. Oh yeah, it's all the different like parts, I guess. Interesting. And then this is David's apartment. The basement. Oh yeah, all the different places she stands, I guess. All the Morgans. Isaac Porter. Oh, look at that. Just walking. Looks fashionable. I like him. Hope he's doing okay out there. Oh, Morgan. Oh, they have a concept for Morgan's lighter. Yeah, it's kind of silly. Oh, they're were they gonna do like this and then like. Oh, Yumi. Yumi's cool too. I like her. And then we got 84. A bit more proper looking before they gave her a bit more spunk. Oh, this is their actual reference sheet. Oh, it's on their back. That's where... Oh, it's also on her arm. Her barcode. Oh, we got a lot of content. We're not done yet. David's penthouse. Yeah. Oh, wow, look at that. The outside look. It definitely seemed like one of the more complex backgrounds. Looks really good. These backgrounds are just really good in general. Starling and Doss, look at them. Hope Starling does a nice job. Oh look, Helen June. I like her. She's very interesting. I like how it's like. I really like the conflict because you can't really say that like. I don't know, with David it's like. I don't know. Kind of what he did was like you could see like he meant it in like a good way, but that it probably wouldn't have ended well. Doing a good thing for like with like potentially very flawed outcome he didn't think about, and I think her fears were kind of justified, honestly. It's the boardroom. Very fancy schmancy. Oh, it definitely looks like actual marble. Fancy marble everywhere. Oh, this is everyone's like reference sheets for realsies. Oh, the courtroom. My favorite courtroom. All these concepts for it. Yeah, because originally it looked a bit more like a normal courtroom. And then they got fancy with it. I prefer fancy. David Ash. Oh, these two. Sarah. Sorry, I really. Ah. Somebody opened the door. And my cat ran in. Such is life. Cats always do those things. It's very fashionable, I can tell. Yeah, that's why I clicked on. Oh, this is her. Look at her. I hope we see more of this character. She seems very silly. I think that's everything though. I heard episode 2 is coming out this year though, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I can't, from what I've seen of, like over here, from what I've seen of previews for chapter 2, we're gonna get like into like a gang war if it wasn't already obvious. So that's gonna be funny. But yeah, I really liked Of the Devil, I think. I'm definitely gonna be playing chapter 2. And like that first chapter is really good, handling like, you know, concepts like artificial intelligence and what it means to like be a person, and just getting like to the point where like, these two people who are like friends or get like torn apart because of this topic, and just Sarah's own conflict with like what is she exactly, and like we don't even know what the hell she is. But she's gonna figure it out, and I believe in her. But yeah, I'm gonna end it off for today because I gotta go, but it was nice, you know. Finally finishing a game for once. Later this week, I'll be on for playing an RPG Maker game I saw, Clinical Trial. So I'm gonna be checking that one out because I heard it's like a little RPG horror maker game. It's pretty short. Hopefully we'll get it done in one go. And next week, I have a couple things in mind. We'll see when we get there though. Oh yeah, also tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be doing Web Serial Wednesday, of course. But yeah, thank you all for joining. Bye-bye now. Da-da-ba.